Welcome back, everyone. This is Akinar here with more Blueprints, and we are on to day 33. We continue with our glorious adventure here on the Mount Holly estate, and I have some ideas. I have some things that I want to try. I have been going over my notes a little bit, not an exhaustive notes perusal by any stretch, but I do have a couple things that have occurred to me, or at least some theories or experimentations that I want to try. We have the we have a bunch of extra steps that we're starting today with because of the sauna. We're starting with a few keys because of the clock tower, and we also got an additional star because of the morning star that we picked up last time in the armory. And let's quickly see. I believe we also had a moon pendant. What items are we starting the day with? We are, oh my god. I forgot to use it at the end of last episode, but they have given us back the axe. And my axe, which you forgot about, you dingus. Yeah, it's a new item that I'm not used to considering, and I thought we were at the end of our day, and the only thing that I was thinking of, which I guess this is still bugged out, was getting back to the break room. The break room, which is not on our screen here because this is still bugged, but that was my only thought, and I just completely we had so many items in our inventory. It's also a little bit easy to overlook the axe, so we'll have to do some thinking, and maybe I'll do that here at the start. We could do a little bit of thinking about the axe, but I do have, with all of these extra steps, I do want to try a couple things. Let's grab our allowance. No need to hold off on that this time. We can also quickly review some of our trophies here that we have on our agenda. The Explorer's Trophy we are 4 rooms away from. Complete the Mount Holly directory. 4 rooms, huh? 4 rooms. Room directory. We have room 8. The still mysterious room 8 that has yet to be discovered. But otherwise, 4 more rooms, huh? 4 more on top of... Is it counting... I wonder if it counts the ones that we haven't drafted yet. That might be the thing. Oh, there's the axe down here. Ah, interesting. We could use the axe. Of course, we could use it here in the... Where else would you use it but in the room directory? The vestibule is one we have added last time as our final draft studio edition. We just haven't drafted it yet. The tunnel has not been drafted yet. I think that must be counting the rooms that we have not drafted. So the tunnel and the vestibule both count as 2 of those 4. And then I think there's one more found floor plan somewhere that we got to figure out how to get our hands on. So we're close. We're close. We're still quite a bit of ways away from the bullseye and the logical trophies. We just kind of need to keep drafting. And that's all there is to that. Trophy 8. Solve the puzzle in room 8 on rank 8. I wonder if we can only draft room 8 on rank 8. Is that why it never appears? Obviously, don't tell me. But what's the big secret there? Darebird trophy, Curse trophy. We might be able to do Curse trophy sooner than I thought because we have these cursed coffers that we've added to the shrine. Day 1 trophy. Oh boy, that is a stretch goal there for sure. If and when I ever get around to doing that. Okay, I really wanted to look at the room directory to remind myself how far off we were from filling it out, and the number that I had in my head was correct. So a couple theories, a couple ideas that I have. Okay, the elevator is up. That is good. That is good. We'll get to that. We'll get to the elevator theory that I have here momentarily. But before we draft anything, let's take a couple of these extra sauna steps and go to the grotto. Because I've continually had this... We had some communications between Randolph Moore and our mother under the pseudonym or moniker of Jean Ribbon. Let's log in here. And there's this idea that they had created a dummy admin key, right? And it supposedly did not follow the normal scheme of having 4 letters for the last name, like Rib-J, R-I-B-B-J. And so I wondered, when I was reviewing my notes, I realized that our mother had made mention of the fact, give me a second actually to pull up the exact notes here. So what she said to Randolph was, instead of simply deleting these logs, would it be possible to instead replace them with manufactured messages? I'd like to leave a trail of breadcrumbs to lure would-be clue seekers down the proverbial garden path. Moore responds, yes, we can create a dummy admin account with pseudo privileges. And then she responds by saying, splendid, in that case, I better get to writing. Our visitor last week has given me a bit of inspiration for a new book. I think that might be in reference to a new clue. And what did we find in a new clue? We found a suspect list. We found obviously a very important message that was encoded in there about burning a sundial base, which we have figured out. But there was more information, it felt like, in a new clue, much more, that was still yet to be used. And I wonder about that suspect list that had several names on it, including one of those names being Bo Lee. Because that name is only 3 letters. That's definitely an exception to the 4-letter naming convention. Welcome to Blackbridge. Bo Lee works. This is the dummy admin account? Oh my God, I was right. Okay, idea number 1 so here's the thing. The other idea, the reason that this name in particular stood out to me was for 2 reasons, one of which was the length of the name, but also there is a series of red and blue notes at the end of a new clue that talk about the suspect is minor. And there's the play on words between M-I-N-O-R and M-I-N-E-R. But the blue note in that sequence does say that the suspect is minor, M-I-N-O-R, and the age of Bo Lee is 12. Bo Lee is a minor. So there were 2 things that were pointing toward, hey, maybe you should try this as an admin key. So what do we have as a result of this? Has this gotten us anything new? Network settings. I think these are there's probably nothing different here. The timeout settings, we can keep those at 1 month, I suppose. Although I'm wondering if I should set this to, I think we can keep this at 1 month. We might have to come back here, but I do have an idea that involves the security room or logging into a security terminal within the house. We'll get to that. I hope that this 1 month, keeping this like this, will allow me to still log in with using a password. But I don't think we need to change anything on the electronic mail settings. But there is this check connection off-site. Is this any different? This is still disabled. Inbound, outbound communications, temporarily disabled. Are we ever going to be able to get any outside access to transfer files? Obviously, we have the ability to transfer like achievement save data from another save file, but I'm talking about something they mentioned in the admin logs here, which was saving some or transferring in a particular file. They had a data transfer that they did right before setting up shop in the safe house. Not totally sure. So now, well, let's check here and see data files. This is still just import trophy data. So what exactly new are we getting? Are we getting dummy logs? The last cables have finally been laid and the office terminal has been connected to the central network. Given the ever-changing nature of the rooms on the estate, we chose to install the server outside of the house to maintain connection stability at all times. A small cavern off the eastern drive was selected for the server site. Is this a message that I already have in my notes? January 20th, 86. January 20th, 86. Is this one that is already present? I see January 20, There it is. Okay, I see January 20th, and that looks like that was in the original logs. I think this is also in the original logs, January 26th. Okay, all remaining computer terminals on the estate are now connected. Testing remote access, and we've asked the Baron to come up with a new name for the network. January 30th, checking notes here at each new page, but I think this was in the originals. Network has been named Blackbridge. Very fitting considering oh, now this makes sense. I had not read this since we read the curse. Was it the curse of the Blackbridge Grotto? Or the Blackbridge, what? Actually, I can check my notes. It's in my notes. I have it here. The curse, it's just the curse of Blackbridge. That is, now that we know that story, this is so much more a somewhat ominous name for the project, given the legend from which the term derives. Oh God, why did you have to put that idea in my head, Randolph? Now I'm gonna be, every time I enter the grotto, I'm gonna be paranoid about a cave-in. I only hope that our servers do not suffer that same fate that befell those in the story. I know. Oh my God. Okay, so then then we go to July 1st. This is also in the originals. Regular maintenance report, fixed a connection error. We have also added electronic mail. Okay. And then, aha, B. Lee. Oh my God. 3 new admin keys have been added to the network's user database. This is the new addition, B. Lee, which was never in there before. This February 10th, 87. Was this even... This actually was a log previously, I think. If I see the dates here correctly, yeah. This used... On this same day, previously, Moore had a log talking about the recording capabilities of all cameras being disabled, as well as existing video playback functionality being removed. So this is new. Screenshot. So there's 3 new admin keys to try here. Lee B, Prov C, and Hound U. Let me make note of those. Well, we already have Lee. We knew, that's the one we logged in with. It's these 2 new ones that we have to try. And then admin log view access restricted to the following. Oh, restricted to the following admin keys. Very interesting. I don't know if we'll get anything different from these other ones. C prov. What could that be? And U hound. There's probably some wordplay that's being used. Prov C. Could that be like proverbs or something? I don't know. But Lee, we are planning something later this year and need to make sure communication on here is not being archived. Are there additional steps we can take to ensure privacy? So these are the fake breadcrumb messages that they were leaving for who? Bon Margle? Or some other Red Guard prying eyes. Already taken care of, we are now bypassing message archiving. Randolph shouldn't notice anything out of the ordinary. It's making it look like they're hiding something from Randolph. This is really interesting. Good. No one else on the estate knows we're here. Other than Mary, of course, who saw Lee on Thursday, but Hound Yu has a plan to take care of her. What? Then Lee says on February 18th, if it must be done, it must be done. Just see to it that the body is not discovered. The last thing we need is for the Red Guard to be snooping around here. So they wanted to try to make it look like our mom had been killed by Prov C and Lee B. What? No, I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? They're trying to throw them off the scent. This is not that hard to understand. They don't want them tracking her down because she's disappeared to somewhere. They want her to be dead in their minds. February 21st, she won't be found, rest assured. Let's disperse for now. I'll meet you all at the safe house in Reddington for 4 days. Then, once the inquiry is over, we will proceed with our plans for the museum. So they're trying to throw them off not just of our mom's scent, but the location of their safe house. Go to Reddington. It's over there. Pay no attention to the estate. Wow. Resuming operations on June 26th. June 26th. Now that is before... That was before our mom made this request to add these breadcrumbs in here. She did that in July, I believe. It was the end of July. Or middle of July, maybe. But regardless, maybe the dates aren't too important here, but just making note of that. Welcome back, Lee. I've been camping out of the old schoolhouse for the past month, waiting for your return. It's spacious, quiet, and should prove to be an effective base of operations outside of the purview of the staff and the Baron. It's funny, it's all mirrored. There's like equivalencies or parallels between the actual plan, which was hide them in the shelter for a while, then move them down to the safe house down in this train station. But they're just putting fake replacements in the breadcrumb text here. Now these dates were when I think our mom originally asked, hey, put in some breadcrumbs on July 10th. We should have an opening on the first day of September. Can we be ready by then? Hound Yu. Is this the first message from Hound Yu? Oh, I think so. I don't see why not. Negotiations for transportation are in the final stages. If all goes well, we will have air passage to Nuance secured for that date. Again, a fake escape destination. Then we go to August 25th. I think Moore is planning to schedule maintenance soon, so we should likely wrap things up here. I'd say it's time to scrub these logs. They might fall under some scrutiny in the near future. And then those have been delisted and deleted from the user database. Supposedly, except we were able to log in with one, which, I wonder if that would raise the suspicion of Bon Margle or other prying eyes. I think probably, my guess is that the rest of these messages are going to look the same. I'm going to guess that these are all the same from here on out. Now, that's a really cool touch, but I also, I feel like it's more story building. I don't yet see it as something that we can use to gain additional information. However, we should try a couple more things. Information that we can use for puzzles, that is. But we should try going back to the menu here and look at the user database. This is the same as before, isn't it? Plus 3 additional delisted admin keys. Those would be the ones. We now know what these are, right? We know B. Lee. I think it's supposed to... This addition at the bottom is supposed to be a reference to B. Lee and these fake admins that have been implemented. Let's try now. There's nothing else to do here, but I think go back and try to log in with one of the other ones. I don't see why it would be any different, but let's just make sure. I feel like these are going to be disabled. In fact, there will be a difference, but it's going to say that this is admin not found, and the same thing is going to happen for Hound Yu. Exactly. Okay. Okay, a cool additional discovery. Nice, nice, nice. So it doesn't, as far as I can tell, it does not help us learn the location of the other 2 microchips that we need. But hopefully we'll figure that out eventually. I keep coming back to this note, and I keep tying this back in my mind when I was looking through my notes again. My mind wants to make a connection between this and the note from the locker room that has 6 or O on the math worksheet. But that's where it peters out. I make that connection, and then I can't take it any further because I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. Like, I then think about, well, if I have 6 here, that's an S, and is it possible that there's like a 6, like we have castle that we know is down by the chess puzzle. Could I do that? Could I make some sort of a word line up here that has castle on this first column and then 1s and 0s down the middle column? But then I'm like, C-I blank. What word? Is there any 3-letter word that's spelled C-I? Like you could say, I guess, cig, short for cigarette, but that doesn't make any sense. I don't think there's any word, at least as far as I know in the English language, that goes C-I anything. So that's where I'm stuck on that note. Don't know what to do with that one. So there we go. Okay, cool. Admin key successful. So let's go ahead and draft our outer room, because that is going to have a little bit of determination on what my next step is going to be, what next ideas I may or may not pursue. It's really going to come down to, do we get offered the tomb? Because I left a pinned comment on the day 32 videos, which some of you might have seen. If you didn't, I have received a nudge from one of my trusted advisors that led me to discover that I had overlooked something in the tomb. Will we get offered the tomb? We do. This is perfect. My only dilemma, if this is perfect. Thank you. Thank you, RNG gods. The shrine is there in the middle. I'm doing the shrine prayer here to thank the RNG gods for giving us the tomb. Let's take it. No need to think any more about this. And we are going to spend some of those steps to go down into the tomb, because my attention was brought to this because I had previously had a nudge from somebody else in the comments who I thought had been nudging me back toward the attic. The hint had put dead in quotation marks. You might want to revisit a room that you were dead certain that you had explored. And I thought, oh, dead, as in dead end. And so when I was looking at the portion of the video that I thought was being referenced, I thought, oh, dead end. There's an attic here. I drafted the attic. That must be the dead end that's being talked about. Because it just so happened that this same commenter, one of our channel lords here, Riley, had left a hint on a previous video that was actually hinting me to the attic. So I'd actually gotten two separate nudges from Riley, but I hadn't realized it. I thought they were one and the same. We did go back to the attic, and we found something very important in the attic, which may come in useful later today in one of the other ideas that I've had. However, one of my trusted advisors who contacted me on Discord pointed me back to this comment from Riley, and I reevaluated it and realized that, in fact, the dead in quotation marks was a reference to the tomb. The tomb, of course, is where you put the dead people. And I realized when I looked back at my footage that I had been I had suffered a case of tunnel vision. When I had come down here to the tomb of the late great Lady Epson, I had come to the tomb here, and I had looked at the rose, and I had looked at the lovely mole photograph, and then I had the idea, okay, well, I don't see anything to interact here. Let me check behind the tomb and see, is there anything on the wall or on the ground? And so I quickly sidestepped over here with my tunnel vision focused in this area. Oh, I don't see anything on the wall. I don't see anything on the floor. Let me just move on with my life. I'm telling you folks, tunnel vision is a hell of a drug, because sure enough, when I came back to look at that footage, I realized, oh my God, there was a key sitting right there. My dingus, laser focused, tunnel vision, ADHD, maybe. I've not been diagnosed with ADHD. I don't know if I have ADHD, but I wonder sometimes, because I do shit like this, and I overlook the most obvious thing in the frickin' room, at least to probably most players. We have Lady Epson's diary key, Secrets from Beyond the Grave. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We need her ladyship's chamber. We need it. We need it badly, because maybe, who knows, in her diary there might be a way, the cipher to decode these messages might be in there, or who knows? Secrets from Beyond the Grave. Excellent. Exciting. We just need to get her ladyship's chamber, which is a little bit difficult. That's a little bit tough to come by. We're gonna try to make it happen. Draxus the Dead might help us. And who knows, maybe we'll get lucky with the conservatory, and that might help us as well. We are gonna continue downward into the catacombs, because I have yet another idea 2 of these things that were on my list that involved the tomb, and one of them here is the fact you may have noted that I made note that the elevator by the blue flames is up above ground. And I believe now, if I am correct, we have a way, because we have hopefully permanently unlocked, yes we have, permanently unlocked a staircase, which gets us back to the precipice from another route besides the elevator, correct? And when we first unlocked this, I had sort of thought to myself like, oh, this is I guess an okay shortcut. I don't really see how this is useful though, except I was not thinking along Dark Souls lines. I was not thinking about what could possibly be under the elevator. Now, there may be nothing here, and part of me is like reining in my expectations that there's really not going to be anything but just a blank space. But what if? What if? What if there is something? Okay. There is, I don't even see a circle. I don't even see a circle for an EP. Dang. Okay, well, okay, not all ideas bear fruit. This is why, you know, that's why they're ideas, because why do we have this shortcut? Why does this exist? I have no clue. I don't understand. I do not understand. I don't have anything to do with the chessboard. There's nothing to do on the chessboard. What we have to do now in front of us is getting our hands on Her Ladyship's chamber. So we want observatories in order to gain access to Draxus the Dead, hopefully. And we also want... what else? Well, we need to draft down the West Wing. And we may, because we have a key card and because we have 3 keys already, I don't think we would we start our draft? Do I ever start my draft at the Foundation? I think we still start at the entrance hall because we want to get as many resources as we can, and get our observatories and stuff lined up in our base before we move on. But we've got that option. And even though I've gone through some of my sauna steps already, we're still, I think, going to end up in the green or in the black. We're not going to be in negative territory compared to where we would be if we had no additional sauna steps. So that is to say that we are right on course. I was so hoping there would be something under the elevator, though. Damn it. Damn it. All right. Now, the other thing, you know, we have this trophy about winning the drafting strategy sweepstakes, getting 20 dead ends. That might also be something worth shooting for here. Let's draft. Because we have this special synergy that the drafting strategy book mentioned, having the tomb when you're going for that sweepstakes seems pretty nice. Oh my God. That's a slam dunk coat check because we get a crown of the blueprints to start our day. Okay, let's go. Coat check, and we are off to dead end number 2. We are off to a slamming start. A slamming start, don't you know? It's going to be a wonderful day here on Mount Holly Estate because we have a crown of the blueprints, actually. Crown has been returned. Now, let me remind myself, what does this do? The former Ruby Crown. The first time you draw a red room while drafting, you may remove it from today's draft pool. That is right. And if you do, you gain a gem. Oh my God, we can just get the archives out of here. We just get the weight room out of here. The dark room, the chapel. We don't have to deal with that crap. Interesting. Would you ever like take the furnace? If you somehow got your hands on an early furnace, you might just take it so that you could proc this crown of blueprints the whole day. Okay, now before we move along, I should probably have just used the axe already because we can start getting value from this right now. So the idea occurred to me that it might just make sense to find the room that you have drafted the most, or take the room that you've drafted, check how many times it's been drafted, and then multiply it by the gem cost. And that might give you an idea of, you know, your savings. So if we so far had been able to use this axe from the very beginning, we would have saved ourselves 6 times 3, 18 gems in drafting the attic. How does that compare to, say, a room like the courtyard? Now, the courtyard is a bit of a weird exception here because we've had so many courtyards with this blessing. So this is maybe, you have to take this here with a little bit of a grain of sand, but we have drafted this 40 times, even though it only costs a single gem. 1 times 40 is 40. So we've technically spent way more gems on drafting courtyards than we have the attic. But of course, that comes with a very important asterisk. But that's sort of consideration here. The secret passage, 14 gems. That might be what I start looking through here to see where I might want to apply this axe. Like the trophy room, it does cost the most out of any room, but we've only drafted it 3 times. So that's only 15 gems that we have saved so far compared to, or we would have saved so far in our entire history of drafting. The vault we drafted 10 times. That's 30 gems that we could have saved over our house histories. 20 gems with the office. That's not a bad one. We do see the office a fair bit, but we're also not really wanting to spread gold quite as much these days. Security wouldn't be terrible. This is a common still, and we have drafted it 25 times so far. We're kind of, you know, we're often in the market for security, and just saving that gem every time we draft it. That could be pretty nice. The observatory could also be in consideration, considering there's 2 in the draft pool. The passageway is also an interesting one because we could set this back to common. We could use the axe on it, and then when we get a conservatory next, set this back to common. And all of a sudden now you've got a common free 4-way room that has no downsides attached to it. That could be very powerful. Cloister of Lydia should also be in consideration, probably. That's kind of the same thing as it's unusual rarity, but through things like the secret passage, we can get more access to this, or can access it more. We've been able to access it more often. We've drafted it 14 times, and it's an upgraded room. Yeah, there are a lot of options that we could go with here, but I feel like the passageway makes the most sense. We change it back to commonplace and we make it free. And even though it does reintroduce the duct system, and I'm not nearly as interested in drafting duct-related rooms these days, I think it's still worth it. I feel like it's still going to be worth it because having a free 4-way room that with no downside is really good. I'm going to do it. It's not like super exciting. It's not like making a cloister or an attic or a trophy room free, but I think this is the sensible drafting move. This is the one that gets you the most value over time, and that's what my value brain likes. I think we're going to permanently axe this floor plan's gem cost. Let's do it. Let's do it. And of course, we can get another axe later on when we draft another armory, and we get to do this again. So things just keep getting better and better as we go. Awesome. So the axe has been used, and now I do not want yet. I don't really want to head to the west from this side because we want to get her ladyship's chamber. If we can, we want to try to go up into the higher ranks a little bit first and come back down the west wing. Like if I can get my hands on some tennis shoes here, I might go all the way around to the foundation and start drafting down the west wing from there. And maybe go up into as high of a rank as I can to draft down from like rank 9 if possible. We need some keys, but we do have a key card, and I guess we have the Morning Star as well to open up chests and trunks, which is awesome. So let's just go ahead and start drafting to the east. This is kind of what we normally do anyways. So let's see. We said we want keys, and the break room would certainly help us on that front. The kitchen, We could take the kitchen if we wanted to get a shot at adding the morning room to our pool. So I think it's between either the break room or the kitchen, but we're definitely not desperate for steps. So we wouldn't be grabbing the kitchen specifically for that. I just always forget about the morning room as a nice little like gem addition for today and tomorrow. And the only way we can add that to our pool is through the kitchen. But I think the sensible pick here is just to hold on to our gems and take the break room to get even more keys. Let's do that. Let's do it. We'll take the break room and we will continue in this direction after we check for items. There is actually a coin here. Nice. And then we'll recheck the board. Is there anything on this board? Staff contracts are no longer kept on the highest rank. We now know that there is, in fact, a rank 10. Finally made it back to room 46. I don't think there's any additional information here, but I do have an idea regarding a terminal password, an alternate terminal password that we might be able to use in security or elsewhere. But that will be once we get security. Let's play the game. And now we know from our the note that was left in the Nook that I overlooked for so long, but we were able to figure out the rules for the dart game here regardless. But we now officially know the order of operations. 11 minus 3 is 8. Times 1 is also 8. Divided by 4 is 2. And then we have 2. So far, these are pretty easy. 2. Actually, hold on a second. Oh, they switched things around on us, didn't they? So this is this the first? Have they done this before? Because now I know, based on the order of operations going from inside to outside, it actually is 2 times 8 here, isn't it? Which would give us 16, and then minus 15 would give us 1. Am I interpreting that correctly? Before, I would have just taken the subtraction first, because I would always think that subtraction comes before multiplication. But now that we know the order of operations, this should be 1. That is correct. I feel like this is the first time they've done this, but I have not been keeping track of exactly how our billiard games have gone. But this might be the curveball to test whether you've read the note in the Nook. And maybe my brain would have broken here thinking, wait a second, my order of operations isn't working anymore. 2 times 10 is 20, minus 12 is 8. We know now, guys. We know. We know what it be. Okay. Dart game, get 2 keys is good. And we continue our draft. Oh my god, we get a rumpus room. We get a rumpus room. What in the hell? I guess we're starting with an Alzara cutscene today, folks. When's the last time we saw a rumpus room? We'll see if there's Alzara cutscenes. What is this? Okay, we are starting off in a fun place here. I need gems. We do need to get our hands on some gems ASAP, but this ain't a bad way to start. This certainly ain't bad by any stretch. Do we have more to hear from Alzara? It appears we do. Okay, let's jump into it. Rumpus room to start our day. I mean, we did make this thing commonplace. Surprised it took this long.
As it was foretold, I am awakened at the sound of a dropping coin. You find yourself face to face with the great Alzara. And I suspect you wish me to look into your future. Faintly in the mist, I see a figure.
A king with wings.
Statue cradled in a courtyard of sentinel stone. You will find yourself one day wandering these paths.
Is this on the estate somewhere?
Walking in the footsteps of the past.
I certainly don't recognize it.
And waiting.
Hello, Simon.
Searching.
Where's
for a
that?
shadow that will
He's at a train station.
The hours to pass.
12:15.
What
Does
you have
that mean
heard
anything?
here has been foreseen by the great Alzara. Until the dawn of the following day, I will have nothing more to say.
Alzara. Wow. Okay, once again, as with all these Alzar cutscenes, I don't know what to say about him, and I don't know what to do about him, other than we saw a king with a cool sword and shield and some wings, but we've never seen that statue anywhere. But it looked like it could possibly be on the estate somewhere. Like, we haven't been outside to, like, the eastern side of the grounds, so maybe it's out there somewhere. Maybe beyond rank 10, if we were to somehow, if we were able to make it out through the northern end of room 46, like somehow through the fireplace, maybe, by solving the geography puzzle. Okay, I'm wildly speculating here, but I also noticed the pentagrams that were there. Pentagons, excuse me. Let's get that term mixed up. The pentagonal shapes representing Fenares that were present. I wonder if that's a statue of, like, King Desolates? Except, didn't the Fenares people hate King Desolates? Except there were two. There was at least two King Desolates. There was the third and the fourth. I might need to review my history of Arindia. Let's continue drafting. Aha! Perfect. An observatory does spend our last gem, but there's a very high likelihood that we get more gems in the process. And I do want to make a right turn here to the east wing. So this works out, but we're not really, the only problem with our draft so far is we're not exactly making inroads on getting to this 20 dead end goal. We kind of need, the observatory is a key room, I think, to making the dead end thing happen, because you actually want the Southern Cross plus Draxus the Dead. You want to be able to have 4-way rooms that actually will allow you to put multiple dead ends and continue your draft. You need to have a lot of 3- and 4-way rooms in order for that to happen. So let's take the observatory and hope to get lucky with the gems. Because if not, we are on the back foot a little bit in that department, at least for the short term. Do I see a Diamondus? I think I see a Florealis. And I think I see a Diamondus Minor. Okay, that's one gem. That's not nothing. I see Farmer's Apple. I see a Clavis. I see Clavis the Key. We have so many keys. We just need to get our hands on gems. And if we get some green rooms, like our courtyard, we can definitely do that because we have Florealis now. So that's a good... Love seeing the Florealis when we do have the remainder of our courtyard Blessing of the Gardener to deal with. So could we get a courtyard here? Is that a little bit too much to ask, game? Apparently it is. I guess we're taking an armory, though, because that at least gets us drafting down the east wing. And we'll have to... I think we may turn tail at some point here to go to the Foundation. But we can take the armory because it's free, and it lets us continue drafting. So we do. And we get ourselves a shield and not another axe. Is the axe only a one-time thing? Maybe the axe is only a one-time thing. Who knows? Because I am seeing only 2 things that have spawned here in the armory. The shield, which we know what it does. We'll probably just buy it. But let's check what the new item is here. A torch. Self-igniting torch can light candles and ignite fuses. So the armory is giving you, if you haven't been lucky with inventions and contraptions in the workshop, or even just getting your hands on a workshop, the armory kind of gives you another way to get your hands on some of these things. So being able to bypass the burning glass, would this actually scorch a sundial base, I wonder? We're going to take it because for 8 coins, why the hell not? Self-igniting torch, get. I don't know if we're even going to use it today. It might, though. If we get our hands on a freezer, we might be able to melt what's in the freezer box. Maybe, maybe. The Knight's Shield is also potentially very cool if we can use it on like a Lost and Found. Or any red room that we don't want to, a wait room or whatever, that we don't want to suffer the consequences. Okay, let's continue drafting. And we do get security. Or we could remove the chapel from today's draft pool. I don't hate the chapel enough to where I would get rid of it, because it's a 3-way room. I actually kind of want to keep it around. And we definitely don't need to use the Knight's Shield on this, but I love that we're adding these emblems. We got the crown back here, the Knight's Shield over here, adding those to our pool. Now, man, okay, so security is going to cost us a gem. I really want to take security because I have some stuff I want to try with a security terminal. And also, we have a key card. It would be nice to turn our security level up to max. But it could be that the smart pick is to take the commissary because you need access to gems. And I think I might have to bite the bullet and say we really, 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 really need gems. And the security is commonplace. We should get more shots at a security room in a spot where it's more useful. The downside is that we would not be able to draft down into the corner, so we would miss out on a chance at a conservatory. However, we don't have... I think the conservatory costs 1 gem, right? We wouldn't have a gem to even buy the conservatory. So this is a bit tough. It might be smarter to take the commissary, but I'm not sure. Now, as I'm thinking about this a little more, I did forget momentarily that the blue crown does give us a gem, right? It doesn't just remove the chapel. It gives us a gem and then it re-rolls. So we, I think, take that option because we do need gems, but I also want to be able to draft down into the corner and hopefully get a conservatory. But any dead end room that goes down there is a dead end that we could keep the hope alive for this 20 dead end dream, which doesn't look like it's off to a great start here based on the way that the draft has begun, but you never know. You never know how things are going to play out. I think we try this. Now, of course, we still could get unlucky with not getting a room that actually points down to the corner. And of course, we miss our chance at a commissary for the moment, which could get us a lot more than just 1 gem. But I think I want to do that. I think I want to take that chance. Because even if we do get the conservatory, we would still have a gem after that to spend. So I think I'm okay with this. And we get to see this in action. We get to see the blue crown doing its thing for the first time. Let's take a shot at this. Let's roll the dice. We get our gem and we get rewarded. We get so rewarded because we get to take a den to get an additional gem and get us down to that corner room. Perfect. That feels good. Vindicated. And I'm vindicated. It's not the right thing to say necessarily, but rewarded. Rewarded. That's the right word. You feel like you made a risky decision, but you got rewarded for it. So and then look at that. We don't even miss out on a conservatory either. That is just beautiful. And the conservatory has a chance to have even more gems, and it does because of Florealis. I just don't have a shovel to dig yet, but we get a gem to replace the one we just spent. Oh, things are looking so good. All right. Oh my God. The clock tower is here. And that is the easiest commonplace of my life. We now know we've got some good intel to suggest that a sanctum key exists within the clock tower. There's a chance for it to spawn, and we want as many chances at that as possible. So we make it common. That's an easy one. The break room I don't see why we wouldn't keep that commonplace. That's a great room to me. I don't think I want to make that any more rare. The coat check. Do we make that commonplace? I do like the coat check a lot, and being able to, you know, this blue crown may end up being super awesome. Even better than a lucky rabbit's foot. And we're gonna, if we can, probably put it back there. I think we just make all these common, don't we? We make this common, and then we do what we said we were gonna do, which is adjust the rarity of the passageway back to common, right? Because now it's free. There's no reason not for it to not be common. There we go. Okay, I think those are, oh man, what an awesome conservatory. Are you kidding me? I'll quickly take a moment though and see if there's any other changes that I want to make here. I'll be interested to see if the conservatory, could it ever draw itself? Could it ever end up as one of the floor plans here on the blueprints table? I wonder. For now, I mean, the only thing that could have made that conservatory any better, I'm not going to make any additional rarity changes, but the only thing that could have made that better would have been if we had got her ladyship's chamber to show up. That's the only thing that would have just put that conservatory over the top. That was awesome. So we've had, wow, what a draft so far. Our draft is a bit restricted on the eastern side at the moment, but we have a foundation. We have a key card. I think we will still draft the entrance hall. If it's a really good dead end, I might take it. Because we have so many resources now, at least keys and, well, the foundation has 3 doors and there are 6 keys. Drafting from rank 5 and beyond is not a big impediment to us. So let's see what we get here at the entrance hall. Because if it's like a parlor, I think I would love to have a parlor here next to the entrance hall. Oh, this is interesting. Geist bedroom versus dark room. We have another chance to use the blueprints, the blue crown, the blue prince's crown. It is crown of the blue prince, actually. Crown of the blue prince. I think we do that. That's another gem. The fact that this gets you a gem is so much bigger than I was initially thinking, because we're starting this day with not that many gems. We've had a plethora of gems on our previous drafts, even starting the day sometimes with a plethora, and not so much today. So we're on the back foot on gems, but not really if we take a dark room, or if we remove the dark room from the pool, that is. The other option here is to take the Geist bedroom, take your dice, and now you have 2 dice that you didn't have before. Oh, wait a second. We have a tomb. I'm a dingus. We have a tomb. It's not 2 dice. It's 6 dice. Wow. Okay. So 6 dice, you say. That changes things a lot. Because now I think I take the Geist bedroom. Yes, it shuts us off from this entrance hall, but we go to the foundation and we start drafting down the west wing, right? That's what we do. We start drafting down because that's how we get her ladyship's chamber. That's how we have to do this. And we get so many dice to reroll for her ladyship's chamber. Is that what we do? Are we going broke? Or are we going for broke on getting her ladyship's chamber? And whatever else happens today, I don't even care about? Maybe we just spend all our dice in places where we could get her ladyship's chamber. Could be the way to go. I'm going to take the Geist bedroom. I know it's a common, but I don't want to pass it here. Like, yeah, we'd be taking a dark room out of the pool and getting a gem, and we'd get to see another set of options. So this is a tough one. I don't know for sure. It is 6 dice, though. 6 dice. I'm very torn. I think it would not be a bad move at all to remove the dark room, take your gem, and try to count on the fact that the Geist bedroom is common and you're going to see it again. However, because we go from here and we go straight to the foundation and we have our 6 dice to immediately start re-rolling on the west wing, I think we take this. And we still have access to the crown. The crown can still remove, and the crown acts as additional dice as well when we get lucky and get a red room to show up. So I think this is it's a risky move, but it feels like the right move. It feels like the right move. Well, we shall see. It all depends on whether I get rewarded or not, because that's how you judge your decisions. You judge them based on the outcome. Kappa. That's a terrible idea. Also, I say Kappa sometimes, and maybe some people don't know what Kappa means. It just means it means sarcasm. Probably everyone knows here. Probably everyone watching this has been on Twitch at least sometime in the past decade and has been exposed to the Kappa emote. But just in case there's a couple in the audience who don't know, every time that I insert a Kappa, it's sarcasm. Okay, we didn't get our hands on tennis shoes, so we're spending a few extra steps here as we make our way around to the foundation, but that is fine because we have 6 dice. And we already had a ton of steps to begin with, so this is going to be just fine. And now I'm kind of shaking just a little bit. I'm a little bit excited about the potential here for this draft. Do we ever, because we are here, do we ever spend the additional steps to go to the sanctum and open up the Rogue Moon door? Is that something we do now? I don't think I'm anxious to do that right this second. Like, we want to get back to room 46, but we know there's always a sanctum key there. It's not like one we need to like re-roll as often as possible, like the clock tower, to see if it shows up. We know that there's just a sanctum key there when we need it. So I don't think we need to spend the extra steps to go to the inner sanctum. I don't think we need it. What I do need, though, is an elevator. Because I need to go to the foundation. Would also love to pick up a shovel at some point. Got a few dig sites here and there to dig up. We have 6 dice, though, which I think the way that I want to proceed is we start drafting down the west wing. We just go through the west door from the foundation, and we try to turn left. We're not going to take a garage. We don't need the keys. We're just going to try to turn left, whether it's an elbow or a three-way room. And we'll spend as many dice as we need to make that happen. And then we'll just keep going down until the draft refuses to let us keep going. If we get like a west wing hall that lets us continue downward, we probably take it. If we get a west wing hall offered here, maybe I would take it. I would prefer to have an elbow, because I would want eventually when this path peters out, then we would take like maybe the upper path, the north path, and try to stay in this column and go all the way northward if possible, ideally, and then turn around and come down the west wing. But we'll see. You know, the draft is the draft. Even with 6 dice, it's not gonna necessarily obey every beck and call. That's a pantry, but it's pointing the wrong direction. So we got to re-roll here. This is why we have 6 dice, for moments like this. Aha. Okay. I don't actually think I take a den, but the den is a gem. So that might be an exception to this rule. I don't want to draft up through the den. I don't want to use that door, which makes me much more inclined to take the office. But the problem is the office spends 2 gems. So the smart pick here is probably the den, but we don't draft out through the top of the den. Now, the reading nook I am interested in getting, because we do want to get our hands on a library and then a bookshop, because we want to buy Realm and Rune. That is the other really #1 agenda item on our list, because once we get Realm and Rune, we can really start trying to decode the sigils and figure out how we want to use our Sanctum keys, because we can actually solve the sigil puzzles. That's my thinking on that. But this is not necessarily the spot that I want to take a reading nook, because I want to keep drafting down the west wing. I don't want to take a library. that points me away from the West Wing. So because of that, I will take the den. We'll take the den, and this is our first shot here at getting her ladyship's chamber. And RNG gods, you're being good to me today. You want to just shoot me a ladyship's chamber right off the bat? No extra dice needed? Oh my god, a trophy room. Bro, can't afford it. I can't afford a veranda. And that allows me to keep going down the... I think it's definitely a veranda here because we have Florealis. This spends 2 gems, but I love the buff that we get to our courtyards. And it keeps us going down the West Wing. This is fine. Veranda is fine. The trophy room, though, I'm kind of low-key shocked that this is showing up right now. It really, I think, I've just had in my head this idea that some rooms are locked behind a rank restriction, that you need to reach a particular rank during your draft in order to unlock a new set of rooms to your draft pool. But that seems, and so I was thinking that the trophy room was like connected to rank 8 or rank 9 because that's where we've seen it before. But it's really just a rare room, isn't it? Just like all the others. And that my perception of RNG is causing me to overcomplicate things. Florealis. And just a gem here. Cool. Love it. We get a refund immediately on our veranda. Excelente. Oh my god, we finally got the tunnel. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I don't think it's correct, though. I think the correct pick is the courtyard. I'm so interested, though, in taking this tunnel because we've never drafted it. I don't, from the floor plan, it doesn't seem like there's going to be anything particularly interesting in the tunnel. If it's like most hallways don't have anything consequential in them in terms of puzzle solving. So this would only be a room to just kind of get us straight down the West Wing, which is not all that useful when we're already almost at the corner anyways. And I could just take a courtyard here and give myself that door that goes to rank 3, which I like. And also, of course, gets me... It's a green room, right? Green rooms are awesome for us now because they have items and they have gems. So this is a pretty easy courtyard. The tunnel, though, it's the first time we've ever seen it. Happened to be drafting down on the West Wing. Do with that what you will. But I'm actually passing it. I don't think it's correct here. I have other stuff on my list today that I want to accomplish. We get a shovel and a metal detector. Awesome. Could make ourselves a detector shovel if we wanted. If we get a workshop. Need a workshop first. So many gems. Oh my god. Okay, all that worrying about gems that was a little while ago is gone. Do I just dig these up now? We can draft first. Let's just see what the draft is here first, and then because I'm good on resources. There's no resources constraining this next door, so I'm free to draft. Okay, this is probably a reroll. Probably a reroll because I do want a second observatory. I do want it, but this if I take it here, that's a chance at her ladyship's chamber that I'm missing. So this is why we have dice. The kennel. I don't think with 6 keys and a key card, we're already in very good shape here. The kennel is not needed. The maid's chamber, interestingly, we could get another gem and pick a whole new set of rooms here. But why not just take another courtyard, you know? And then we could, if we wanted, just spend all 4 of our remaining dice in the corner, taking our shots at getting her ladyship's chamber. Which I feel would be correct, to be honest. Now, yeah, I say that, but, you know, it's probably correct, right? Because you are directly in a spot with her ladyship's chamber. I'm just thinking, would you ever save dice in order to make sure you can angle your draft in the correct direction when you're heading upwards from the foundation? Because you need to be able to turn left back onto rank back onto the west wing and then turn left again to be able to... Man, it's such a pain trying to draft this room. Her ladyship's chamber, you are so well hidden. I'm going to take a courtyard here, though. These courtyards, stacking these together like this, feels awesome. And it saves us another die. I think I am not going to wait to... Like, if we were going to... We would have to make a... I don't think there's any reason to wait. Let's just dig. We could make the jackhammer, which would get us more gems and also dice. But also there's still a crap ton more courtyards in our pool. So there's a good chance that we get a workshop here at some point and still have so many courtyards with dig sites left in them. So don't worry about it. Just dig. Just dig. Don't overthink it. There is a metal detector going off. Oh, because there's a shovel, or sorry, a sledgehammer here, which we don't really need because we have a Morning Star. But I guess it could let us make a power hammer. We are so good on resources. It's just dice now. Dice that might start running a little thin. So, you know, digging up dice with a jackhammer would be nice, but we need to get a jackhammer, and that takes a battery and a broken lever. So that's still a long shot. Right now, if we keep digging, we get turnips, which are good. And we get coins, which are good. Okay, let's see. This might be where we spend all of our dice. Let's find out. Don't need the parlor or the commissary anymore now that we've got our gem train rolling. So we spend a redraw. And we pray. We pray to the cute little mole on Lady Epson's upper lip. Pray to the... Oh my god. That's a library that can't get us a bookshop. Dang it. Don't need a locksmith. I'm spending all my dice. I'm spending all my dice here. We'll see how I feel about that when I get down to the very last die. But none of these rooms excite me. Solarium is maybe the only one that I could consider here. Because the fact that it would make Her Ladyship's chamber more possible. The solarium could be a thing. We would have 2 dice left, and that would give us some maneuverability going up from the foundation. So maybe that's what I should do. Maybe be smart about this and hold on to the dice and give yourself so many more chances at picking up. Not so many more chances, but you give yourself, when you go to use those dice at the upper stages of the West Wing, you have this buff. And of course, the solarium is a green room. So we get more gems and dig spots and items. It's a good room. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's go ahead and give it a shot here. Because even if I use 2 more dice here, Her Ladyship's chamber is still a rare. So it's still kind of a long shot. All right, these green rooms are just so... Oh my god, we get a coin purse on top of everything. A coin purse to go along with all the things that we've got so far. And we have an unremarkable rock. The draft is set. This game is just so much fun, guys. I love it. I love it to death. Okay. I think I want to take a dormitory here just because it is a dead end. And this is like a perfect spot for a dead end. It's not really going to do us any good because I don't think I'm ever really coming back here to get steps, but maybe I will. Who knows? I might draft a drafting room. They are called drafting rooms, right? We've had this problem before, but the drawing room is just a floor plan. There's a floor plan called the drawing room. The ones with the compass are drafting rooms, the category. I think I'd just take the dormitory here. It could have a chest as well. It could have a hall pass or other item that would be useful to us. Running shoes are possible there. So let's take the dead end. We save our die. We save our dice as much as we can for Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. So rewarded. We get some steps as well from it. I do forget that I guess the dormitory counts itself. But is that true? It just gave me 10 steps. It's not a drafting room. It's an entry room. So, because we have entered a drafting room, I guess the conservatory fits the bill. And so that buff remains active for when you draft the dormitory. I don't think I realized that, guys. That's an important thing to know with the dormitory. The dormitory just gets you 10 steps provided you've drafted at least one drafting room, no matter what. Wow. And it also got us 2 dice. So, oh my God, what a... I might have to reevaluate dormitory on my tier list. Maybe dormitory needs to get an upgrade in its ranking from D for dormitory up to D for dice. No. Let's draft out the base here if we can. Let's see what we get. Oh. Wow. Some of the picks we're getting so far are really, really interesting. This may just end up being a boring old hallway, but the gymnasium, we have the chance to remove it or take it because it could have running shoes. Or there's a freezer. And the freezer, we do have this self-igniting torch, and we could melt what's in the freezer. Now, at the same time, all our assets would be frozen, and we currently have no way to unfreeze them. We do not have access to a furnace. So it's probably not a smart move to take a freezer here. We're probably seeing the freezer because we took the solarium. So seeing the freezer again today is not a long shot. I think we're ruling out the freezer. It's down to, do I take the hallway or do I remove the gymnasium? I don't think I would take the gymnasium here because it doesn't really point in the direction I want it to. I'd like it to point to rank 3. And maybe I would think about taking it in order to check for running shoes. But the smart pick could just be to take the hallway and then I get to draft the other room into rank 3. Or we just get another gem. Now we have 11 already, and we're going to get a whole lot more probably with all the green rooms we're getting. So gems don't feel like a premium anymore. My only minor complaint here is the hallway is pointing... I wish it was rotated so I could get both doors. So that I could use both of those wonderful doors here, because I want to draft... I would love to draft a dead end out of one of them. I could end up drafting a dead end through the hallway as it is, and then go out through the foundation and draft downwards from there. But I don't want to close myself off too much if I can help it. I think I'm actually going to take the... I'm going to use the crown again. It's just a gem, but it's a gem. Gems, gems, gems. 12 is better than 11. And I don't really love exactly the way that these rooms are. Like, I'm not thrilled about getting another key in the hallway anyways. If I don't have both doors at my that I can use, I would probably take the gym if it were oriented to where I could use both doors. So I kind of want to use a reroll here, but not use a die. So let's do the blueprints thing. The crown. Assert that dominance of the crown of the blueprints. Let's do it. Get that red room out of here. Gosh dang it. Why is it pointing these? The rooms are just not lining up exactly how I want them. All right, I will settle for a security room here because I do want to try a thing in security. I think I take that over a courtyard. I'll take the security room here. Once again, why could I not? Where's my ornate compass when I need it? Oh my goodness. The other argument could be for the storeroom, but we're so good on resources. Taking the storeroom here, I'll take security. I'm gonna take security. Now that we have security, let's check for any items. We have security. Now I can talk about my idea that I had for security. And I'm wondering if maybe I was just overcomplicating this, because we have the note in the safe house and we have the note in the attic that talk about deleting the A. And then we had a whole bunch of red scribbles over the O in the attic. Is it just as simple as take out the A, take out the O, and use that for the network password? Isn't that also the license plate on the car in the garage? Is it possible that they just want us to do Swan Song? No. Okay. There's another wild idea that bites the dust. So no dice. Actually, we have 4 dice. But we have no new password that did a thing. We got a new admin key login. One wild idea has panned out, but I just thought maybe it was just, okay, those 2 notes are telling us to delete the A and maybe also delete the O. And so that's what I tried. That Swan Song doesn't cut it. The consonants only Swan Song password. Get that out of here. It doesn't do crap. At least not in logging into the network. Who knows? Maybe it does crap somewhere else? I don't know. There's 20 coins currently in the estate. In the tomb. Because I've drafted 4 dead ends. I was like, what? There's 20 coins lying around? They're in the tomb. Okay. Let's do our keycard thing. We know the thing at this point that we are experts at. Set that security level to high, and we're good. Security level is now high as a kite. And we also do we do log into the network with the actual password. See, it's too perfect, right? Swan Song, it's actually perfectly centered. Any other length for a password doesn't make sense here because it's not perfectly centered on the screen. Clear video game logic dictates such. We're gonna keep doing the magnifying glass special order. Just autopilot this in until I am dead certain that there is nothing left that I could use the magnifying glass on. Just don't even think about it. Also, we probably do experiments, right? This is experiments time, isn't it? There's still nothing we can do with data transfers, right? I don't know if that feels like something we should be able to unlock at some point, but I haven't figured it out yet. I think, though, there's no reason for us to spread gold because we have a tomb, and the shelter only makes sense if we have a laboratory. So let's log into the laboratory and get our experiments rolling. Is this the day we do the trunks? Do we actually do trunks today? We've already opened 1 set of trunks, but let's do the experiment setup and see what we get offered. All right, whenever you spend 2 or more gems drafting a room, that's always a good one. Whenever you draft an archived floor plan, I'm hoping we don't do that one because I would love to just use like the Knight's Shield to shield myself from an archives and just use it as a passageway. Whenever you draft a shop room, okay. The effects are gain 1 key, 1 gem, or 1 die selected randomly. Have I ever seen that one before? I don't remember even seeing that, if I'm being honest. I feel like that's probably the one we pick because I don't think I want to lose 10 steps and gain 20 gold, and I don't think I want to set my steps to 40 because we're probably going to just be okay on steps with all the digging we're going to be doing. So I think we just take that as our effect, and then 2 or more gems drafting a room. That seems to be the one that procs the most. We've drafted the armory, but otherwise we haven't drafted any shops, I don't think. So the drafting a shop room might be close in terms of how many times it's going to proc. And we did just take away one of the rooms that triggers the 2 gems or more. We did remove it. The passageway got axed. So maybe the shop one is the correct pick. I'm going to still stick with the 2 gems, though. I don't want to lock myself into... Well, I'm never locked into anything. I was going to say lock myself into taking a locksmith. No pun intended. I wasn't going for a stupid pun. It just happened. The locked in was on my mind, but I don't want to feel like I have to draft a kitchen or a locksmith in order to get this experiment to proc. Of course, I never have to do that for any reason, right? This is all just icing on the cake. So you never have to let your experiment dictate anything. But I know how my value brain works, and it does get steered by the experiment no matter what. But we're going to take the 2 gems or more. 2 gems or more, and because there are still a lot of rooms left in the draft pool that will proc off of that. And I feel like it'll be more often. I haven't done the math, I haven't run the numbers, but I think it's going to be more often than drafting shops. So let's draft through the security. Oh my God! Look at that archives in a corner where it can't be used. I just want to put a dead end here, honestly. I just want to put a dead end here. Am I removing the archives? I think maybe I am. Now, the archives is nice that it's a 4-way room. And it has security key cards, or key card doors. And I would love it if I could get the archives out of the foundation. Getting a 4-way room out of the foundation doors that are left would be great, especially if it's the one that heads to the east. We would still have stuff like the passageway and the weight room, the Great Hall. There are other rooms that are gonna be buffed by the solarium. Well, the passageway actually gets winnowed out by the solarium buff, so we actually don't see the passageway as much as we would normally. We could just take the spare master bedroom as a whole bunch of steps. Don't feel desperate for steps, though. I kind of feel like taking the crown again here in order to just re-roll. Take another red room out of the pool and get ourselves another gem, and we get a re-roll to a room. I don't really like any of these rooms here. So, and I want to save my dice for when I'm re-rolling for her ladyship's chamber. So the blueprints crown strikes again. Get out of here, archives. Go to hell. Bunk room, huh? We have no hallways, so this doesn't double our keys, but it would get us some items, either keys or gems, and it would count as 2 dead ends toward our. It would proc the tomb twice, and we would be 2 closer to getting the sweepstakes 1. I think we take the bunk room, right? That seems like an okay move to me, and then we can continue our draft from the foundation. This would put us at 6 dead ends, is that correct? We have actually 7, because we have the Geist, Solarium, Dormitory, Coat Check, and then the Tomb, that's 5, and then the bunk room would count twice, so that would be 7. We take the bunk room here. If we're going to get to 20, you almost have to have a bunk room in there somewhere, right? So don't pass it when you get the chance. By the way, shout out to, once again, our channel lord, Riley, pointing out the fact that the dogs are not the first living thing that I've seen on the estate besides birds. The gerbil! How could I forget the gerbil hanging out here in the bunk room? That the OG gerbil that has been here since the beginning. Okay, we don't even get gems or keys, which is actually good. I think the double bananas here is actually better than any of those. I would probably take double gems over double bananas, but I'm okay getting the steps here. All right, looking through the bunk room once again just to see if there's anything I've missed, but I am not seeing anything at the moment. Maybe tunnel vision has completely blocked out something from my vision, but we say goodbye to our wonderful gerbil friend, and we move on with our draft. The only place we can go from here, which is from the foundation. Let's go. And I think we also have some dig spots here in the veranda that are waiting for us. And we get even more coins. And we have a coin purse that's going to proc eventually. Once we get another coin, right? Ding! All right. So we are not, as I said before, we are not drafting up from the den. We are instead going to the foundation and digging up those spots. Not waiting around for a detector shovel. I don't even know if I would get a detector shovel, because that, I feel like I just want steps. All my other resources, I'm going to be more than good on keys and gems And so is just the 2 dig sites? I guess so. So I think I draft to the right first. Which way do I want to go here? I think I want to draft to the right, because if I do get a passageway or a weight room, if I get a weight room in particular, I would want the weight room to go here. I don't know. This is probably overthinking this decision. I think though we will start because if we want to get the dead end thing done today, I want to make sure that I'm sticking dead ends in places like below the foundation. And I think that having a 4-way room here makes that really possible. So I don't know, maybe I would even spend a die or 2 here to try to get a 4-way room. How do I want to do this? Now is actually a time where I would not be opposed to having a Southern Cross. Okay, actually, I changed my mind because our real first goal today is getting Her Ladyship's Chamber. If we get 20 dead-end rooms, if we're lucky enough to get 20 dead-end rooms, I will just be over the moon. But that is a stretch goal. The first and foremost is to make sure that we try to get our hands on Her Ladyship's Chamber. So we try first to head up. We try to head up. God damn it. That's not up. None of these are up. None of these are up. Is this where I redraw? Because I really want to go up. Is it that important? Or can I afford to take a treasure trove and just, you know, I still have room to work with, right? I don't have to go directly up. We can go to the right, and then we can take an elbow that goes up, and we can eventually worm our way over to the west wing. We can do that. And it's most valuable to hold onto the redraws until we're looking at a downward facing door. Downward dog. We're gonna do yoga here. We're gonna find the yoga room, the hidden yoga floor plan, to do hot yoga on the estate, and then we're gonna do downward facing room on the west wing to get Her Ladyship's Chamber. Was Her Ladyship a big yoga enthusiast? The treasure trove is always a good room. Pretty much always a good room because we get coins and we get the additional intelligence from those chests. So I will settle for the treasure trove here, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We might have to spend some dice here on some of these doors just to get some more wide open rooms, but we'll take a treasure trove. And then what? And then what? Do I draft through the foundation? Because this could be a spot where I have a lot of steps here. I'm going to draft through the treasure trove first. I'm going to see if I can, from the treasure trove, bend around to the west wing. See if we can do that. We might as well just pick up the coins. No reason not. No reason to leave those sitting on the table. We get our coin purse proc, and we are just like every single draft. We have infinite coins. Where's my freezer now? No, don't need the freezer yet. We got lots to do still here. Let's open up our trunk and continue to get these maybe helpful, maybe not. The true treasure of the trove is not in this room. I have a feeling these are notes that are all pointing you toward the sanctum key at the bottom of the reservoir. But maybe there are more to these that I haven't figured out yet. But I have to think, like, these trunks are the same as what's at the bottom of the reservoir, right? That's the connection. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We might have to spend some dice here, but I really want a room that points upward. An elbow that points upward, at the very least. Okay, we probably need to take a showroom because this probably, hopefully, gets us an ornate compass. It's got to be a showroom, right? A procs hour experiment as well. Here's where we take a showroom. Showroom. Show me that experiment trigger. Thank you. Do I see an ornate compass? I do see one here. I see one here. Please be able to purchase it. Yes. 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 Hunter pens. Yes, yes, yes. Only Giants fans will get that. Ornate compass. Giants fans like me, for the record. Ornate compass. Yes, get in my belly. Get into my pockets. Do I take anything else? The chronograph is always fun, being able to rewind, but I don't like the chronograph just yet, except it would make dead ends more likely because tomorrow rooms are almost always dead ends. So, and it would allow us a little bit more flexibility in being able to rewind. Rewinding is good as well. Could just take a silver spoon and then we never have to worry about steps. We're still at 65. I feel like I don't need any of these immediately. Because it could be a mistake to take the chronograph because like we still need to, like we want to steer. Well, the chronograph would also make her ladyship's chamber less likely, right? Because it's not a tomorrow room. We hold off on buying anything else from the showroom, but we get our ornate compass and oh my God, now we are doing things. Settle in, folks. Settle in, because now let the overthinking, the hemming and hawing begin, because we may be able to draft the entirety of the house. We have 6 keys, we have a key card, and we have an ornate compass. And we have the crown of the blueprints, and we have 4 dice. Things are going to happen here. Okay, let's go ahead and see whether this room is, or this door is locked. It is locked. So from here, I think I changed my mind during my break here. I'm gonna go ahead and get the silver spoon right now because we really just need steps. And yes, we have 65, but if we take a silver spoon, we're just gonna have, no matter what, we're gonna have as many steps as we need. And that is going to allow us to do, like, there's so much gold already out in the tomb. We just need the steps to go get it at some point. And that will allow us to come back and buy the rest of the things in the showroom, as well as whatever other shops we open up. So, with that in mind, it allows us to be much more liberal with our steps and head over here to the foundation and draft from here. And now is where things might start to get a little bit funky with how I decide to draft, because we have a chronograph and my perfectionist tendencies here. I want to be able to draft as many dead ends as I can, but I also, and if I want to get those as tomorrow rooms, I want to get those as tomorrow rooms if I can, but rooms like the freezer, I don't want to draft just yet. So like a room here that's like right below the foundation next to the veranda is a perfect place to put a dead end. But if I draft that right now, if I able with the ornate compass, if I'm able to go around 3 rooms to draft that right now, I would not be able to take a freezer because I don't want to lock out my 10 gems from my drafting right now. So I might not draft a room. I might draft to that room so I have the door to draft from later and save it. So I might have like I might have a few empty spaces here as we go because I might be waiting to go pick up the chronograph in the showroom near the end of our draft. And then when I feel comfortable taking something like a freezer, I'm able to take it. So we'll see how that goes. I might get a little funky and overcomplicated with my decision making as the draft proceeds. But of course, I mean, you guys are here. You know that this is par for the course. You know this is just how I roll. All right. Hallway versus furnace versus observatory. It's really interesting seeing the furnace because, you know, it would allow us to draft a freezer. If we take a furnace, we can say, hey, now I can draft a freezer without feeling too bad. Slight problem is that it really dead ends us in a spot that I don't want to get dead ended. The ideal pick here is a room like the hallway, and I think that is what we take. I could swap the observatory around here to point it downward, but I think I would much rather take the hallway because that gives me just as many doors as possible. And from the hallway, hopefully I can angle to get an elbow or maybe even an observatory that points to that room under the foundation. So I think the hallway is in the perfect spot for us here. We don't have to spend any of our resources. I almost want to keep the furnace in the pool. Like the furnace, taking the furnace at a spot where I want to put a dead end. I might want to have it in the draft pool because that makes red rooms more likely for us to be able to use our Crown of the Blueprints against, right? Let's take the hallway. It gets us a key, which is also important. We're still at a stage of the draft where we want keys, and we'll keep drafting. We're in a good spot with keys, but we still want at least a few more. So now we do draft downwards. Have to use another key, and I will do that. Not an ideal spot for a reading nook. It would get us another key, but we would definitely not get a library and a shot at... We would get a library if we wanted, but no shot at a bookshop. Although, I could switch directions. I could turn the reading nook the other way, but then I would sort of be giving up on my dead-end dream. Because here's the thing. If we do the math here, I did not do the math during my break, but we have how many rooms left in the house? 4, 7, 9, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2 is 12, 21, and then this room here would be room 22, and then the room below the foundation would be 23. We have 23 rooms left. We have so far drafted 7 dead ends. We need to get 13 dead ends in our final 23 rooms. I don't even know if that's going to be possible. That's more than 1 dead end for every 2 rooms you draft. I don't think that's possible. How are you supposed to make this happen? I don't see this happening, guys. We'll see how things go, but man, you really have to... What would we have had to do differently in our early stages of our draft here to make... Because I have 2 dead ends on rank 1, I have 2 dead ends on rank 2, I have 2 dead ends on rank 3. Like, if you go 2 dead ends per rank, that gets you... There's 9 ranks, that gets you 18, and then you have 1 in the outside. You have to average just a little bit more than 2 dead ends per rank. But we have already drafted we've drafted no dead ends at any of rank 5 and 6 and 4. 4, 5, and 6 is the normal way you count that. Okay, let's not worry about that too much here. What we can do, if we want, is just... We're not going to take a reading nook. We're going to take either a classroom or an office. The office is probably the pick. But we just, with all the gold we're getting out in the tomb, you don't need the office for gold. The office would get us a gem back. So we would proc our experiment if we take the office. This actually is the pick then, because we get the gem back from the safe. I was thinking we could save a gem by taking the classroom, but we're not really. We would be getting an apple and additional steps from our silver spoon, but I think the office is the better pick. And we can spread gold if we want. So let's take the office, and if we're lucky, it gets us another die. The only question about spreading the gold is we probably would wait for later. I would probably be super greedy and just wait, because I don't have a reason to go back to any of the rooms that we've already been in so far. So there's not a good reason yet in my mind to spread gold. So we take the office and we get an additional gem from our experiment. So we end up breaking even on gems as it is, because we get the gem here from the safe. And now this is where I leave this door, because I want to come back later when I have a chronograph and make it a tomorrow room if I can help it. Or at least add more, make it more likely that a dead end shows up at that door. And because tomorrow rooms are much more likely to be dead ends. So now we continue from the hallway. Aha. Actually, the closed exhibit is good, isn't it? The closed exhibit is actually perfect for what I want. We don't have any mechanical rooms yet, do we? I guess we have the security room. But that would only give us 2 doors in the mechanarium, and I don't know which way they would point. Or do I? I might know which way they would point, but I think this is actually a room where we take the closed exhibit, or a time when we take the closed exhibit, because we have a security key card, it's a good room for us, and we want the room with 3 doors that points us down. With the door down, we could leave to draft as a dead end, and then we get that door over to the east wing. So we could end up with 3 dead ends potentially on rank 4 if things work out for us here. So I think this is perfect. Closed exhibit it is. And then we draft through the... This is where we would think a little bit about how our dead ends play out. Let's say, because we have no dead ends on rank 5 at the moment, what you could do is you could draft... How does this work exactly? We really want this room to be a dead end if we can, but it can't... If it's a dead end, that means that this room here in rank 4 would have to be an elbow that gets to this room here. So if you were ending up in a scenario where you have 3 dead ends on rank 4, it means you've drafted at least an elbow at this last room in rank 5 and ending up with no dead ends there. So then you're having to make up for it by getting more dead ends over in this direction. Shit. How does this work? Let's say we do that. Let's say we completely take 3 dead ends here, and then we have... Does it make sense to have just the elbow on rank 5 that points downward, and then you have from the showroom, you would be counting on the showroom giving you a 3-way room that gives you as many doors as possible just to keep your draft going. We still have this room at the den that we could use if we have to. The door from the den is, you know, an absolute last resort, but that is an out if you don't get a 3-way room here at the showroom, but we have 4 dice. Very likely that we get a 3-way there. You would then, from there, probably want to get a 4-way. A 4-way room, or at least a 3-way room. You still need doors, right? You need to be able to pick doors to continue your draft. How do you end up making this? I almost need like a bunch of jigsaw puzzle pieces that have... I almost need to do this in like a spreadsheet where I've got my screenshots of the little room icons and put those, copy-paste those onto the right spots in the board here just to visualize in my mind what it would look like having 20 dead ends. All right, I think the way that I play this is I go through the closed exhibit and we try... Oh, I guess we get an item from our metal detector. Probably a coin. That's our first order of business, is to find the metal detector item. Where are you hiding? There's the coin. So we get that out of the way. Coin purse procs. And I think I draft the door to the east wing. It's the door that has more potential openings to it. And so if we get lucky and get like a 3-way room, we might take it. Because I at least want to get an elbow here that goes down. Let's just see what this offers. I think this is the correct way to do this. And if it's not, we're learning. Okay, storeroom versus dining room versus aquarium. Dining room, when we have a silver spoon, not terrible. But the starfish aquarium counts as a green room. And green rooms have items, and they have dig spots, all kinds of good stuff, and it gets us another star. It is funny that it counts as a red room to proc their crown, but I don't think we take it out of the draft pool. I think the way that you're supposed to strategize this, if you're aiming for 20 dead ends, you want to basically save. You don't want to draft your dead ends until the very end. That's what it feels like. You want to take a room like the Starfish Aquarium, but you pretend as though, okay, I'm going to live in the world where I draft 2 dead ends from the Starfish Aquarium, but I don't do it yet. I just pretend that they're there. And so then I go to the showroom and I pretend that I've got a dead end above the Starfish Aquarium, which means I use an elbow from the showroom to get up. And then from there, I hope that I get a 4-way room that points me in as many directions as possible. And then I pretend that I have as many dead ends connected to that one as I can while keeping my draft going. I think that's the way you're supposed to do this, but this can get very convoluted. It really is going to boil down to being lucky and getting, you know, a good 4-way room when you need it. I will go ahead and take the Starfish Aquarium, though. Let's take that here. And like I said, we're not going to draft these rooms because maybe... Oh, interesting. Broken lever. Could that come in handy? We're one step closer to making a jackhammer. But I don't have a workshop. I still don't have a workshop. We're just going to pretend for now that these doors end up being dead ends. I mean, we could do that, or we could just continue drafting from here. But I think it's better to draft from the showroom. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me get the rest of my items. Let's just do our digging. Get our gem, get our old shoe, and that's all there is to that. This is I am in major overthinking mode, trying to figure out how I can make this 20 dead end room thing happen. I need to not lose sight of the fact that we really want to get our hands on her ladyship's chamber as well. We still have this diary key. I'm gonna do what I said. I'm gonna go ahead and leave these here. We should end up with a whole bunch of steps. We got a silver spoon. This should be fine. What we're gonna do is we're gonna head back to the showroom. Head back to the showroom. And draft from here. We have to use a key, correct? But we got to use those keys eventually. Aha! Boudoir is perfect. The pool is also good. I don't think it's a conference room. The conference room is cool when you have an office. That is pretty sweet, but we shouldn't be strapped for gold with the tomb. We really want dice. At the same time, the pool has 2 trunks in it, which could very well have dice, as well as other great things like keys. So maybe the pool is just the right pick. It would also add... It would add a sauna as a dead end, but it also adds the locker room and the pump room. It's just that the door from the pool is going to waste. The door that goes to the right. I don't want to have that door conflicting. This is the thing, is if you're doing this dead end thing, it feels like you really need to be particular about running doors into each other and do that as little as possible. We would use our compass here to point the boudoir in the other direction. The boudoir, though, gets us 2 dice and a gem, guaranteed. Just no keys. The pool does have a chance to have key card doors. That could save us a key as well. I think I really do like the idea of guaranteeing the 2 dice. And also, I don't really want to add the locker room or the pump room, because I think those are both... The pump room might be standard, but the locker room is a rare, and that would make that a lot more likely with the solarium buff. And I guess the sauna would also be just as likely, but yeah, I don't want to throw in a little bit more junk to the draft pool. They're not junk, but I don't want those rooms in the draft pool. I think we want dice, guaranteed. We get the extra gem as well, and it's an elbow room that faces us exactly where we want to go. I think the boudoir is perfect here. I am just a little bit conscious of the fact that we want keys. We're at 4 keys here, and the metal detector going off is a good sign. Get our dice. The metal detector, is that going to be a key somewhere? I see a coin. Okay. Would have loved that to be a key, but I'll take the coin nonetheless. Now, we get our gem as well. And then I had noted, I think during the notes review session, that I had wanted to take another look at the inside of the safe, just because there was an interesting, what kind of looked like a swordfish that had been scribbled here. Is it a swordfish, or is it actually a leaf? Like this is the stem? Taking another look at it, it doesn't seem significant. I can't help but see a swordfish there, though. It's a sideways swordfish. I think it's supposed to be a leaf, though. But I also, if it is a leaf, like, what does it mean? I don't think it's a detail that's important. Okay, we will now We're pretending that that starfish aquarium room is a dead end, and now is when we have 6 dice. We will probably use some of them here too. I would love to see a 4-way room. Like, this would be the absolute perfect spot for us to have a weight room and use our Knight's Shield. That would be brilliant. Would you do that for me, game? Not this time. This has got to be a reroll, I think. This has got to be a reroll. I need at least a 3-way room here. At the very least, I need to be able to go in more than one direction. I don't think I can settle for an elbow. We have an ornate compass, but in order to make the dead end thing happen, you have to have so many 3- and 4-way door rooms so that you can take a dead end and then also take another 3-way room. If I just take nothing but elbows, I have to keep stringing those elbows together and I never get a chance to take any dead ends. So I'm going to use one of my redraws here, and I'm not going to necessarily spend every single redraw. Now, the thing is, I'm going to lose my ornate compass. So I'm going to have to live with whatever I get from here on out. This is dicey territory, but I really don't want to take an elbow. I'm going to spend a redraw. This might be the death of me, but I'm going to do it. That's a great haul. It is a great haul, though, and I only have 4 keys. Shit. Shit. Great Hall versus Conference Room. Great Hall versus Conference Room. The Great Hall is kind of the room you have to pick if you want to live in this world where you do all the things that you want to do. If we want to live the 20, because if we take the Great Hall and we presume then that room to the right is going to be a dead end, and the room to the left would also be a dead end. This is how this would work, I think. I can't say for sure. I don't know exactly how this is supposed to work, because maybe the room to the left is supposed to be a T-shaped room. It could be a T-shaped room, and then you might take a dead end up above that T-shaped room. Like, this could go, there could be a few different ways to do this. I think I have to take the Great Hall, and then I have to open the doors on the left. We open the doors on the left. Well, another thing that we could do is we just take the Great Hall and we go back to the rooms from before and we try to get ourselves like a locksmith. We try to get our hands on some keys. Because now we are starting to be a little starved for keys. And now that locker room wouldn't be so bad. The Great Hall is nice with having a metal detector, because at least one of the doors would have probably a key or coins behind it. Okay, let's do this. We're going to take the Great Hall. And the thing is, even though we only have 4 keys, if we have to, we can draft from the den, even though I was trying to save that room for Her Ladyship's chamber, but we could just draft there for the garage. And we still have ranks 7 and 8, where we could point down on the west wing to try to get Her Ladyship's chamber with however many dice we have left. So let's take the Great Hall, and then we'll take a step inside to see where the metal detector points us. Which door is it actually reacting to most rapidly? It feels like it's this first door on the right. The first door on the right feels like it was getting the most. Yeah. So we could open this one. We could open this one. It might not have a key behind it, though. It could just be coins. So I'm not going to open any of these doors yet. So I probably shouldn't have taken that extra step, but we should be fine on steps here. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to add those doors that I was saving to draft on rank 4. We're going to go back and see how many of those open without using a key. Because if now, I'm not going to be so greedy that I save those for like a freezer, when I could just get a locksmith instead, if I can get it without using a key. Right now, keys are my most precious resource. Once I get my hands on a locksmith, then that's a different story. None of those are a locksmith. And a utility closet doesn't exactly help me, but it is a dead end that counts toward our sweepstakes. I might settle for that. If we get a mechanarium that rolls around again, then the mechanarium is more interesting. So the utility closet does have some marginal utility. Huh, fancy that. I don't think it's worth spending a die just to try to get a locksmith. So let's just take the utility closet, and we will do the minor little things here, like turning off the gym lights, turning on the garage door, and the dark room doesn't matter because that always just resets, right? The keycard entry system, we want to leave that on, actually, because we have a keycard. So that's worth the extra 2 steps, I think. And there should never be anything, we've never seen any additional items in the utility closet. Do I want to spread gold now from the office? We don't need to spread gold yet. I think I can wait just a little bit longer here to go ahead and put these other rooms in place. Assuming, oh yeah, this one just opens with the security keycard door. That's just a keycard that we don't even have to spend a key on. There's our locksmith. Thank you, game. Sometimes the game, those RNG gods. We have offered up, apparently, the proper sacrifices to please the RNG gods today. I would like 3 keys, please. That's what I want. Or do I want a lockpick kit? The lockpick kit is actually better value, isn't it? Because I can always come back to buy more if that runs out, or if we do run out of keys. So the lockpick kit we take. I could take special key plus 1 key, but we know the lockpick kit works on the doors in the Great Hall, so that's perfect. Because now we can just roll on whatever doors open in the Great Hall and see how things go. Cool. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. I did forget about the red crown here, but I think we'll be okay without, or the paper crown, I should say. Now I will save those doors from the Starfish Aquarium. Those could become tomorrow rooms. We've added 2 more dead ends. We're up to 9 now. Let's go back to the Great Hall and see what happens with our lockpick kit. And our steps situation is still fine, but we do at some point need some food. We've got a silver spoon for when that happens. But now we can just roll all day long on this, right? That one didn't work. How many do we get? That one is the one I was hoping would work. Because we know there is a item behind this door. There's also an antechamber lever, which does not react to the metal detector. Thankfully. How do I skip this again? Escape. So that's good. Key plus antechamber lever get. Lockpick kit. Feels like it's just basically straight up a 50-50 shot. Take your shot, see what happens. Okay, that one opens. So, we do have the door to draft to the left. And I think I take that one first. Or do I? Because here's the thing. I think I take the door to the left because I want this to be either a dead end or a 3-way room. I don't want it to be an elbow. Basically, I think that's what I'm learning here. If you're going to get 20 dead ends, you have to draft no elbows, which is probably the mistake that we made. Like, we probably needed to take a dead end instead of a conservatory. That was a mistake. This rumpus room, like straight throughs and elbow rooms are really detrimental to this game plan. So we might have screwed ourselves over in this early going here, just enough to where we're going to fall short. But we'll still see if we can make this happen. If we're up to 9 and theoretically 11 if we count these 2 next to the aquarium. So with the remaining, we have 4, 7, 9, 11, 14 rooms. 14 rooms to get 9 dead ends. Oof. Oof. Where do we even put them all? I don't know how we do it, guys. That's yeah. We'll see. We'll see, because one of these rooms, we can't go through the antechamber just yet. Which door did we open, by the way? Was it the west antechamber door? It was the east. But that doesn't help us yet until we get another antechamber door open. Now I'm wondering if I should have taken that dining room. If I should have taken the dining room instead of the aquarium and just really set my steps concerns to rest. Because this is what I was thinking. If I'm going to play the draft this way, where I'm just constantly bobbing and weaving back and forth, I'm going to need all those steps. And that probably was a mistake in retrospect. I think I'm going to draft from the, like I was saying from the beginning, this door is open to us as well. The door facing to the west is actually here open to us. So let's draft in this direction and see what we get. Those are not going to cut it. I got to use a die here, I think. If we're living in the world that I say we're living in, we can always say, hey, the dream is not going to happen here. The 20 dead end dream is not going to happen because we already screwed up at the beginning of the draft. Trying to go 9 of 14 is just impossible. And maybe I need to spend like a bunch of time here thinking through whether that's actually possible or not. Because it could be that we just want to save every single die for, you know, making sure that we get as many shots at her ladyship's chamber as possible. Okay, so I have been sitting here now for a few minutes trying to think this through. What scenario exists where we could get 20 dead ends? And I think we'd have to get extremely lucky. It could happen, but it would require what I think we would have to draft a garage from the den or some other dead end. And then we would have to have 2 more dead ends on the west wing. We'd have one at rank 7 and rank 9, which theoretically we would get from a T-shaped room that would point us to rank 7 and 9 on the west wing. But that T-shaped room we would have gotten from a 4-way room right here at room 8-2, rank 8, column 2. And then that door, so that has to be a 4-way room. And then there would be 2 more dead ends attached to that along the second column. So that would give us 5 dead ends right there. But that would require, then you'd also have to get here, where we're drafting from the Great Hall, would have to be a dead end. That would be number 6. And then this 4-way that we had from 8-2, that would have been obtained from at least a straight through or a T-shaped room coming from 8-3, because we're not going through the antechamber. So that means we'd have to draft probably another 4-way room here at the Great Hall at its north door. And then from that, we would be able to put our remaining 3. We would have a 4-way room here, and we'd be able to do 1, 2, 3 dead ends to close things out. Those are all the things that would have to fall into place for us to get our 9 remaining dead ends. 2 4-way rooms, 1 here and 1 here. And I just don't see that happening. We'd have to spend all of our dice to do it. That's the thing. We would probably have to spend a good portion of our dice. And that means we're missing out on chances to get her ladyship's chamber. And I think the more important thing to do is to try to aim for that when we have the diary key, and we want it because we want to get the information from that diary more than anything, right? I want to get this trophy. I want to be able to say I drafted 20 dead ends, but I'm more anxious to get new information. It's been so long since we've really added new substantive information, it feels like, to our notes. Although I should say that, what am I thinking? We've obviously decoded a new clue, and we've gotten sundial bases, and we've determined some things, right? We have had breakthroughs, and we're continually gathering information. But I think what I'm getting at here is we've got to thread too narrow of a needle here to try to get the 20 dead end room dream today. So I think what makes more sense is taking an observatory to try to get Draxus the Dead. Draxus the Dead would make things... It would make it a lot easier to get her ladyship's chamber, I think. because that combined with the solarium would really boost the probability of that happening. So I think the smart pick, or the conservative pick here, to admit defeat on the 20 room front and take the observatory, that is where I'm leaning, although I'm still having indecision about it because that's how I am with these things. But at the very least, we have learned, I think, the important lessons that we're going to need to eventually get that 20 dead end room trophy. You really need to prioritize multiple doors or dead ends. It's all or nothing. This in between of picking elbow rooms or straight through rooms is just not going to cut it in most cases. So you really want to prioritize the latter or the former. Strike that and reverse it. Somehow, some way, you get things the way you want to go. So, okay, we're going to switch gears here and take the observatory. Now, the only little downside with taking the observatory that I just realized is that we missed 40 stars. We had 39 stars for our first observatory, and then the aquarium basically skipped over 40. And I just checked my notes and realized that the planetarium tells us that for 40 stars, 7 different constellations are observed in a single night. Dang it. Missed out on 7 different constellations. Super, super sad. What do we get instead? Another Florealis? Bummer. Well, actually, unless they stack. Maybe it's not a bummer. Maybe it actually stacks, and I'm gonna be sitting here looking silly when we actually get like a dozen flowers in our next courtyard. Okay, farmer's apples are just, show me an apple, and I'm gonna be so freaking full from my silver spoon plus double farmer's apple. We go from the observatory though, and now we have to get a door to the left because the whole point here is to get to her ladyship's chamber. Okay, now that we're backing off of needing to have, or I should say trying to avoid elbows like the kitchen, now we can bring the kitchen back in the fold. It doesn't get us steps immediately, but it will very soon once we get our hands on a few more coins, and we don't even need that many steps anyways, so I think this is a pretty easy kitchen. And it is facing the correct way, so we take the kitchen. And we'll continue drafting this way. Actually, we should be able to afford something, right? 1 banana is really nice. A chef's salad is also pretty nice when we've already got, what, 5 green rooms? 6, maybe? But we will take at least 1 banana here, which gets us just the 6 steps, because it's not an apple. Why was I thinking it was an apple for a second? I don't know why I thought that. Okay, we'll be back here, I'm sure. We'll see if this country stew pie comes into effect, but we're probably not going to need to worry about that. And there's never anything extra in the kitchen, is there? Except for the fact that the water faucet we could leave running if we're just a terrible person. All right, let's see if we can keep going here. We will have to use a key, but I will use it in this direction. And we do not want to take a ballroom, even though it procs our experiment. It's not what we're looking for here. I think this is just we're giving up on the 20 dead-end room dream. So we take out the lavatory and we get a gem and we re-roll, correct? I think that makes a ton of sense here. We don't have to spend a die. And we get another shot to give ourselves a T-shaped room. Does this also... Now, the only problem here is I might lose access to my ornate compass. If I decide to re-roll here, I think that probably does lose me access. But I gotta say, I'm not loving the fact that I have a commissary here. I already have 13 gems, and I have no coins right now. Even though there's a whole bunch of coins waiting for me back out in the goddamn tomb. Maybe I should go to the tomb now, right? Maybe this is where we should make our pit stop at the tomb, because I can come back and buy everything in the kitchen after I've looted the tomb. But I think in any case, I'm okay doing this thing with removing the lavatory. But then again, the commissary will be able to buy everything in the commissary. Do I care about that? It just kind of makes my draft a little bit awkward here. Unless I point the commissary up, If I point it upward, I don't know. I want to get a T-shaped room. I want to give myself more options here. I want to do more options, and I just don't know of any items that I'm desperate for in the commissary. Running shoes would be okay, but I'm going to get a whole bunch of steps here soon. I don't need those. I'm going to do the crown thing. I'm going to do it. We do lose access to our ornate compass, but that in return, though, we do get a boiler room, which I think I take over a casino. Is that correct? If I take a casino, I do get an experiment proc, and I would get coins right this moment. So maybe I do take that. I get 15 coins plus another 5, and that gets me a crap ton of steps from the kitchen. Probably just take the casino. But then I would be, you know, the draft gets down. The thing is, we want to spend all our dice looking for her ladyship's chamber. That's the thing. Like, I really don't care about anything else in the draft here other than getting a bunch of tomorrow rooms at the end if I can help it. But once we've gotten her ladyship's chamber, I'm kind of like okay with whatever else happens. And the casino does get us another, because it procs the experiment, it gets us a chance at an additional die. It's just going to make it really difficult to draft the rest of the rooms up into the corner. But we only need to draft down one room. That's it. We just need to go down once, and then we can spend all of our dice to get her ladyship's chamber. It's just that if I take a boiler room, I'm sort of giving myself an additional die if we assume that we're taking an elbow that, you know, we draft through to the west wing from the boiler room. We get an elbow or a T-shaped room that points us downward. And so we're drafting onto rank 7 where we could get her ladyship's chamber, or we could get a straight through room like the west wing, or the west wing hall. And that west wing hall would essentially act as an additional die. And we don't really need the coins from the casino when we have all those coins in the tomb. The more that I think about it, I think it's actually correct to take the boiler room. Now, it does, the boiler room does bring in the potential for seeing duck-related rooms, but I think that's okay. I think that's all right, because a duck-related room, like the pump room, that's not in the pool. The laboratory would be an elbow that points downward. It would be okay to see that. In any case, I talked myself into the boiler room. Let's take it. And now, before I go any further, we will go back to the tomb. I think this is the right spot to go back to the tomb, because... Is it the right spot, or do we just try to go for her ladyship's chamber first, and then worry about going back to get the steps? It's going to cost us how many steps to get back to the tomb? As long as we have enough to get back to the kitchen, it really doesn't matter. And I think we do. We've got 40 steps. That's more than enough to get back to the tomb, through the foundation, and then back to the kitchen. It's going to be like 20 steps round trip. It's probably a decision that I'm stressing about too much. I don't need to make the decision until I'm at, like, I don't know, 35 or 30 steps? Maybe, because then I would be in danger of supposedly running out of steps getting to the tomb and back. But the thing is, I'm going to pick up steps in the meantime, right? As long as I don't go, like, 4 or 5 rooms without getting any steps. There might even be a dig site in the boiler room, which could get us a turnip. And then all my worrying is for nothing. No dig site. I don't think that I'm going to activate the power, because I don't want the laundry room and or the furnace competing for space here. I don't want to bring either of those in, even though the furnace would be a blueprints crown trigger. I would much rather have rooms that I can rotate. If I have to settle for an elbow room that I rotate downward, I think that's what I would rather see here. Instead, I do get, well, I could get the dark room, but I could also just take a courtyard. I take a courtyard here. I wouldn't mind seeing a lost and found, because we have a knight's shield that we could use on it, but I still want to draft the rest of the house. So I'm going to leave that option open to me because the courtyard gets me facing down like I wanted to, and it gets me a whole bunch of stuff, including dig sites. The courtyard is the pick here. Dig sites that can get us steps. Let's see if we get those steps. Coins are just as good, basically, because there's a kitchen right nearby. Nothing of interest, huh? Not even a person of interest, huh? No person of interest stuck in these dig sites. There's a whole bunch of keys. All right. We don't need to worry about opening any more doors the rest of the day. Did I get double the gems because I had double Thorialis? Don't answer that. Okay. Moment of truth here. Well, sort of a moment of truth, because we have kind of 2 chances to go for Her Ladyship's Chamber. But we're not getting Draxus the Dead today. We've drafted both of our observatories. And we don't want to get a chronograph because I don't want tomorrow rooms crowding out Her Ladyship's Chamber. I think we've basically done all the setup that we can to try to make Her Ladyship's happen. Solarium is online. The only thing we don't have is a study. But I did make the study standard, and it's actually getting crowded out from the Solarium. The Solarium buff is actually doing us a disservice by no study being available. Ah, I just remembered that another room that could help us here is Secret Passage. And now, now I kind of wish I could go back. I feel like we had Secret Passage before in the conservatory, and now I kind of wish I had it as a standard. Although it's unusual today, and because of the Solarium, that's actually good for us. So I don't know, maybe 6 to 1, half dozen the other. And because that would be really like amazing right now. The Secret Passage might even be more, well, no, I mean, it's not more it's not more valuable than the actual Ladyship's Chamber itself, but man, does it make it so much more likely to get Her Ladyship's Chamber, doesn't it? Outside of all of that, though, I think we've done all the setup that we can to try to prepare for a Ladyship's Chamber appearing. So let's just, we don't have any limitations other than, you know, we could go and get more dice in other parts of the house, right? That is one thing we could do. Just go save these rooms for later and try to collect as many dice as possible. We don't spend dice in any other spots in the house. Just go and collect dice. The question is, how many other sources of dice can you collect? We've already got the Geist bedroom. We've already got the boudoir. It would basically be like the pool for the twin trunks. Or we could draft the study, right? The study could show up somewhere. I think let's actually do that. I'm gonna build the drama here, if nothing else, and we're gonna hold off on drafting toward Her Ladyship's Chamber and see if we can get access to a study or more dice, one way or the other. I mean, we've got the boudoir, and now we could add the walk-in closet. We could have both rooms that we would want to see. Both rooms that we would want to see in conjunction with Her Ladyship's Chamber. And maybe there's dice in the walk-in closet? Potentially. The other option is just take the pantry and basically re-roll and try to take another shot at a study or something like that. Like if this were a regular closet, I don't know, would I still, my perfectionist color in all the squares tendencies makes me want to take the pantry here. And I feel like the walk-in closet is not valuable enough where I would feel too bad passing it up. Like there could be a cupcake in there to have a bunch of steps, but I feel like we're at the point where we're going to have enough steps here when we go back to the tomb to buy out the kitchen. So I'm just going to take the pantry. I'm just going to take the pantry, and that basically acts as another reroll to get our hands on a study. And I forgot that there's even fruit in here. So this is even more steps because it's an apple. Awesome. Okay. So maybe there's a case clue in here at some point. We can maybe during the next notes review, think about this clue, this note here. And because maybe it is the low case clue that Bon Margle, or not Bon Margle, but our mom encoded in a new clue. And listing the pantry as one of these rooms to think about. Lockpick kit? Okay, we're going to have to spend a key here, but that should be fine. Because we have a locksmith, right? Everything's fine. Just don't spend dice. That's a clock tower. Awesome. I don't think we need a workshop today. I think I'm much more in the market for a clock tower because that could have a sanctum key. This is what we told ourselves. We don't need gems from a wine cellar, and we don't need to make any inventions. We've made them all. We'll make some more at some point, but I like the clock tower here. Perfect. Perfect spot for a clock tower. Now, it's going to be fun here. Things could get very fun in just a moment if we instead have another silver stopwatch at the top of this clock tower. What do we got? Dun, 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 dun. Holy shit, it's another silver stopwatch. Damn it. Okay, so no steps, no gems, and no keys, correct? You don't have to do any of that stuff when you have the silver stopwatch. You don't. All the doors are... Actually, that's kind of dope with the Great Hall. We could, like, run back to the Great Hall and open all the doors real quick. That would be pretty sweet. I don't want to rush through. We're not going to try to draft her ladyship's chamber, but we could go and we could draft this door next to the boiler room. See if we can get a study or something there. And then go to the Great Hall and try to open all the doors and draft as much from there as we can. And then we're still close enough to the kitchen to buy ourselves a chef salad or something. That's what we do, right? We don't rush too badly. We take our time, but hurry up and get as much value out of this thing without causing ourselves to panic and do dumb things. So let's go. Stopwatch is ticking. Go, go, go. Turn around. Turn, turn, turn. Go, 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 go. Strafe sideways while moving forward, because that's how it worked in GoldenEye, to get double speed. Through the boiler room, draft downward. We don't have to spend keys, right? Okay, and we take a, this doesn't matter. We just redraw here because it's the Red Prince, and then we take the foyer. Okay. And that opens all the doors anyways for our... Well, that also procced our experiment. So we already opened all the doors in the Great Hall. What? Let's draft this door. And we take a courtyard, yes. Okay. All right, there we go. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. That's a decent amount of value. It still procs the experiment, even though you don't spend the gems. We took a foyer, and it does look like the foyer works the way that I saw during my brother's drafting. Oh, drafting strategy, you lied to us. Drafting strategy, I was misled. You can totally draft the foyer after drafting. Oh, there's 3 gems in here. Totally draft the foyer after taking the Great Hall, and it still works, guys. No big deal. Drafting strategy, you fibber. Okay, we have 9 coins, and that means we're gonna buy some steps in the kitchen. That's what it means. That's what it means. That we could get even more coins from the courtyard, but let's go back and just get these steps now. Oh, we already yeah, I forgot. We already are at 50 steps because we picked up that apple. And now our chef salad is even more delicious because we just drafted another courtyard. We have 7 green rooms. This is going to get us 70 steps. Is that right? 80 steps. Because I guess we drafted even more green rooms. We had the courtyard up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Goddamn. Okay, so I don't even need to spend any more on bananas because that's 130 steps, folks. Now I can just save coins for buying stuff in the showroom. Perfect. Okay, let's continue over here because now we're only going to be coming back for those remaining rooms The ones on the west wing. And we just want to collect as many dice as possible. And hopefully we get a study. A study would fit the bill. Can we dig up dice? We could dig up dice if we got ourselves a jackhammer. And we could get a jackhammer if we get ourselves a battery, which we would get from a workshop. So let's not dig up any more dig sites. Let's not dig up any more because dice could still be something that we dig up if we manage to draft a workshop from here. We got so many gems. Study, workshop, these are things that get us dice. Now that I think of it. I should have taken a workshop before. We got a clock tower, though. I'm fine with having a clock tower. We need as many shots at Sanctum Key as possible. Let's draft upward. From the courtyard, there's our walk-in closet again. Now I probably don't skip. I don't skip the walk-in closet here, because now I'm fine taking a dead end. And this could be dice. And I don't feel like I need to remove the dark room. I can always remove it later. Let's take a walk-in closet. That'll be our good juju to we're giving ourselves good vibes here in anticipation of picking up her ladyship's chamber. Oh, there's a sleeping mask. That's the other item. All right, no dice. Sleeping mask is fine though. So from here, we opened the trunk already, and there's only one way to go. Key is fine. We're already more keys than doors. So of course we take a key here. Patio has dig spots, which could mean more dice if we make a jackhammer. But the pool actually is the pick, I think, because that just gets us chances at dice in the swim trunks. The pool is what we take. Pretty easy pool. Get a key to boot. Don't need it. Dice, please. Dice, 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 dice. I don't need more keys. Dice, 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 dice. Just when I said, can I get dice in a locker room? Will it give me dice in a locker room? I can get dice from a closet. We'll take the closet. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. No! Where are my dice at? Okay, now it really doesn't matter too much what else I do here. Other than, do we want to get the chronograph now? Do we go get the chronograph to try to get tomorrow rooms at this point? Because I want either tomorrow rooms or I want dice. But if I'm getting tomorrow rooms, I'm probably not getting dice. I think I just go for tomorrow rooms, right? Let's go back and let's get our chronograph at this point. Let's do it. You know, as I'm thinking about it, I think we actually go back to the conservatory and we reset the study. I think we do that. We just set it to standard, but if we undo that, we're going to make it so much more likely to find it today. And in fact, I already forgot the plan that I was going to do. The plan that I had, which was to hold off on getting the chronograph until we try to go for her ladyship's chamber. I think we might not even buy the chronograph at all, because I don't care that much about tomorrow rooms so much as I do trying to get her ladyship's chamber. Maybe I'm too fixated on that. But if we want to get the study to give ourselves as many rerolls as possible, we don't want tomorrow rooms crowding out the study, just like we don't want them crowding out her ladyship's chamber. So I think the plan is go to the tomb, get our gold, and also go back to the conservatory and change the study back to unusual. And then we roll these other rooms here to try to get a study, see what happens, and then we spend whatever rerolls we have to go for her ladyship's chamber. That's our game plan. And then we'll probably buy a moon pendant at the end of the day and see how that goes. I probably also could have put a little more thought into, there's other ways to try to really shoehorn in a good chance at getting her ladyship's chamber. Like the secret passage is one, and then the prism key is the other one. We could have tried to buy, you would have had to structure the draft a little differently here. You'd have to have a bedroom that's pointing downward on the west wing, right? So we can think about that combination moving forward. Whenever we do get the tomb in the future, if we're not able to get the diary today and unlock it, then there's ways that we can really maximize our chances at her ladyships. But let's go with that game plan. Let's get our tomb in our gold in the tomb, and then hit up the conservatory and change the study. So much gold to collect. It's basically a vault. I think it is. It might actually be the exact same amount as a vault. I do want to make this dead end thing happen, but I think it was important for us to learn the lessons that we did today, and we can apply those lessons going forward to really figure out how to win those sweepstakes. Oh, and I forgot there's dig sites here as well. I don't think we're gonna make, well, I don't know. Maybe I should leave the dig sites here because we don't need the keys and we don't need the coins. And but also it's like ridiculous, a ridiculous level of min-maxing to try to wait to dig up dice when you theoretically might get a jackhammer. I'm still gonna do it though. Let's leave whatever dig sites are down here because I have 116 steps left. And there is a world where I just, come back down here for one dig site after making a jackhammer in a workshop because I want to get those couple extra rerolls. You never know. I just realized it's so funny that we had 3 tomorrow rooms that were all offered in the conservatory. And lo and behold, those are the 3 that we've drafted. We haven't drafted any other tomorrow rooms, but we've gotten all 3 of those. What are the chances? What actually are the chances? And we'll leave that dig site there as well. If I'm gonna follow that logic that I just alliterated, then that's how we gotta stick to the game plan at this point. So, but we do. It feels a little bad to undo this change that we made to the study. I do like getting the study, but it feels like, getting our hands on Draxus the Dead, getting our hands on a solarium, these things happen. These things happen relatively, with relative frequency. So this undoing of this buff is, it's probably fine. And I think for today's draft, it's definitely correct. We'll see how I feel about it in the future when I'm scrambling for a study in the future. But for now, let's head back and draft those remaining rooms on the east side. And actually, before we head back to draft again, because we have a bajillion steps, why don't we just see... Oh, wait a second, this is open! We don't even need to scorch a sundial base again, because this is open. I was gonna see, it does work for the record, our torch, the self-igniting torch, does in fact scorch sundial bases, just like a burning glass does, which really makes me think... It really makes me think that, man, getting our hands on a freezer would not be bad, would it? A freezer would not be, because we could use the torch to thaw out the freezer. I'm still gonna stick to my game plan though, of going for broke on her ladyships. It's what we're doing. Even though I'd love to carry over 28 gems and 70 gold to another day, I would much rather spend those gems re-rolling with a study. So let's see if in fact we can get that study to appear. Instead, it gives us a vault, which apparently has a sanctum key. There must be another safety deposit box key somewhere. No study. But taking the vault is another experiment proc. I forgot about that. That's a chance at more dice. So we do take the vault here. We're not spending any dice, even though you could make an argument that spending the dice to try to get a study could be more valuable than saving those dice for the Her Ladyship's Chamber. Because if you do break through and get the study, then you have so many more rerolls, but not infinitely many, right? You only get 8 per room. But we still have 3 more doors to draft between the other side of the aquarium and the pool. So we'll settle for the vault and hopefully get a die. Yes. Yes, it took forever for that die to get added, but we do get the experiment proc. Awesome. And we get a whole bunch more coins. So now if we get a casino, if we happen to get a casino, we can just spin for 100 gold. I will double check the vault here before we leave. I'm gonna feel like, is it really December 9th? That makes sense, right? We're on day 33. That does make sense. There's a trunk here. Yo, what the hell? Dice? Dang it, there are car keys. Car keys, huh? Car keys, which would get us a battery if we got a garage. I don't think that's worth it at this point. Not without a workshop, that's for sure. And a workshop just has as likely of a chance to get us a battery as any other. Could there be a safety deposit box that is just open that I've somehow overlooked or I haven't looked closely enough for? Is that a possibility here? Safety deposit box 8. 8's the magic number in blueprints. Have I overlooked? I can't even reach it. It says that there's supposed to be a sanctum key in here, right? But it's not just lying around. I don't think it is. I'm trying not to be, I know this is a blind playthrough, but I'm trying not to be blind. There's no sanctum key here on the music stand. It's not in one of these vases, is it? Is the Egyptian god statue hiding it? Where is my sanctum key? It's in a safety deposit box, and we just need another key. That's got to be the answer. What about safety deposit box 46? 46, right here. 46, can I reach that? Not really. 46, open sesame. What other numbers would be important here? I think we need another safety deposit box. That's what we've done so far. We've had keys to open and get access to all the other important materials, documents and whatnot. So let's just draft on the other side of the aquarium. Nothing else to do. And maybe we get more dice in the process. Instead, we get... the commissary doesn't sell dice, does it? None of these really matter. None of these really ultimately make a difference. I could take the conference room to take one of the rarer or unusual rooms out of the pool. Shrink that pool just a little bit to make the study more likely. That seems about as good of a plan as any. It also would, you know, if I want to go get a bunch of gold from the office, spread them to the conference room, but I don't have anywhere to spend all that gold, so it doesn't matter. I'm just not spending a die here, right? The dice are reserved for the West Wing. That is the important part of the story here. No fruit in the conference room. What was this note again that I had completely overlooked? What did the note say? After the meeting adjourns, take all conference notes and place them in the office safe. That didn't happen, did it? Because there's no office notes in there. All right, last chance at a study. Basically, last chance at a study, because unless we go to draft a study from the den, we could try to do that. But what we're gonna take, we're gonna take our shot here first. Library does me no good, other than it lets me take another look at a new clue. But none of these rooms do me any good. So none of it really matters. All right, I'll take the library, I guess, and we'll take one skim through a new clue. But I did just kind of go through this on my own when I was reviewing my notes. So, and that was what helped me figure out our little suspect list here, which we don't have a magnifying glass for. But we know Boli is an admin key, or at least a fake one. We still don't know if this dead cases is important. I haven't thought any more about this note. Laboratory, closet, attic, furnace, and solarium. Dead cases. Maybe I need to think more about that. But otherwise, we've gotten a lot of information from this book already. There is this clue about lore equaling word, jor equaling name. I'd love it if we got some sort of translation guide inside of her ladyship's diary. Something to clue us into this secret language. Major. There's some clues on these pages that I have not yet figured out. The suspect is a key. I think it's not, yeah, it's the suspect is a key, an admin key. And the suspect is a minor, as in Boli. So there we go. I don't think there's anything more for the moment that I can make sense of in a new clue. And I'm glad we picked the library, if nothing else, because now, next time, hopefully, we keep searching for a bookshop, and eventually we'll get one. And if we do get the bookshop next time, we'll be able to reserve a copy of it immediately. The shrine has popped into our new favorite floor plan. And we have the courtyard is our most drafted now, surprise, surprise, as well as most paid for. Funny how that works when you have a blessing of the gardener. Most time spent in the library. Security is number 2, and then the entrance hall, number 3. Just me blabbering away in those rooms. Most avoided floor plan, planetarium. Oh my god, this poor room. It's always in competition with the break room. Once we got that break room upgrade, the planetarium is just chopped frickin' liver. It has no hope. Because we're always calling it a day in the break room. It's too good. Okay, this is it, folks. The only thing is we could take our chances with shooting for the study going up from the den. I feel like we're very likely to get a garage offered. And I just don't think we're going to get a study over there. So I think our better shot is to, if we have to settle for something like a ballroom, a straight through room that gets us, or a T-shaped room that gets us to rank 6 while still going down, but also costs 2 gems. Something that costs 2 gems and gets us another shot at a die. That's about the best we can hope for at this point, I think. We won't spend any more coins on steps just yet. We'll save those because we might draft a casino. And yeah, nothing else to do. I'm a little bit, I'm always a little bit sad when we can't get maximum value out of a draft. And the 20 dead end sweepstakes dream would have been nice. But we are where we are, and we'll do with this what we can. Wow. That's a workshop. Okay, now while there is a workshop here, there's also a dark room. And that is basically an additional reroll that we get. So that's another way for us to get more dice. The long shot here of taking a workshop and hoping for a battery, that would allow us to make a jackhammer, and then we go back to all these other places that have dig sites, and maybe I remember where they are, maybe I remember, maybe I don't. But we go back to all these places with dig sites and dig up dice, which may happen, or we just get more gems that we can't really use. The correct move is probably just to re-roll with the crown, right? Don't go through all the trouble of something that may or may not happen. If I already had a battery and I knew that I could make a jackhammer, maybe it's a different story. But here, I think it's correct for us to take the free reroll. Dang it, I saw the purple room and I got so excited for a second. Shit. Yeah. Servants' quarters, no. Not the right purple room, man. That's not the one. We go again. Yes! Yes! We did it, folks. We did it! Oh my god! She's back. Back again. And we finally have the key. Oh, it matches the logo. I totally did not remember this little double triangle pendant logo here. Oh man, how long have we waited? How long have you waited every time I draft the tomb? And the time that I opened her ladyship's tomb secret chamber and just look right past this key. Tunnel vision brain on full display. Listen to that wonderful harp. Her ladyship's sleep diary? This theme. Wait, where have we heard this before? It's playing with the harp, but we've also heard this in other places in the house. I just don't remember which rooms. It's so good. Her sleep diary. What? January 17th, 1979. My dear diary, after countless sleepless nights and failed home remedies, my physician has urged me to document my sleeping routines in the various bedrooms of our estate. It is his hope that by tracking the caliber and length of my sleep in each room, together we may come to a deeper understanding of my condition, and perhaps, with luck, find a more favorable environment in which I might finally find some amount of rest. Oh, does she have insomnia? Probably has insomnia. Let's take all the screenshots here, of course. Something like insomnia is what it sounds like. January 18th. My dear diary, to begin, I thought it best to start with my own room, despite already knowing how unsuitable it has been for my sleep of late. Perhaps it is all the old memories that linger here, as it is impossible not to think of home among so many mementos of my youth. Nonetheless, I find comfort in gazing at the stars before dozing off, and it pains me to consider that if this trial is successful, it may be one of the final occasions that I sleep here. So her ladyship's chamber, we see the icon pasted here, which is kind of interesting. But we're gonna walk through several different bedrooms here. Oh, interesting. So my room, sleep duration 2.5 hours. Quality, peaceful despite brevity. Observable effects, I awoke the following morning with 10 less steps, but also observed an additional star in the sky. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that there is actually an effect for calling it a night inside of a bedroom? Have I never noticed this before? These sorts of things don't occur to my literal brain if the game is not objectively telling me like it does with the break room, if it's not straight up saying, hey, look, if you call it a day in break room tomorrow, you will begin the day with a staff key card. Awesome. Great. Love it. I don't think about the possibility that a bedroom itself would just have a hidden effect, which is what it sounds like. There is a hidden effect here that you get with her ladyship's chamber of losing 10 steps the following day, but also adding a star to your count. What? And there's going to be more. The other bedrooms have similar effects, perhaps? This is really, really exciting. Now, I'm still hoping we get some translation here for our secret language, but this is still really cool. Aha. I immediately go to the observable effects here on the guest bedroom. Nothing special. Let's read the whole story. January. So not every bedroom is going to have some carryover effect. Especially now, it's not the guest bedroom anymore. It's the Geist bedroom. How really could you get very good quality sleep with a freaking ghost hanging over your head? A ghost with a scythe, no less. December 21st. Dearest Diary, last night I retired to the guest room, as I have yet to gain the courage to ask anyone to surrender their room to me, even for a night. This bedroom is a cozy space, normally reserved for guests staying the weekend. However, I found, despite having a choice between two beds, that neither proved to be very comfortable. I must speak with Herbert about this, as our guests deserve, at the very least, as much comfort in their stay as we have. Clara. Did she add her name to the other pages and I just didn't read it. It's interesting, like, it's your diary. Why do you need to add your name? Is there really any doubt about who's writing here? Guest bedroom, sleep duration 4 hours, quality very fragmented, and observable effects nothing special. January 22nd. My dear diary, it was strange to sleep in the childhood room of my late husband. Simon, right? The room was just as I had imagined it from the stories he told me of growing up with an elder brother. Herbert informed me that the room has remained untouched, almost identical to when they both occupied it. To avoid any accidents, I slept in the bottom bunk, as climbing ladders is not as easy as it used to be. Despite my exhaustion, my thoughts of Simon kept me up through most of the night. That would be a little bit weird when you think of it, right? Sleeping in the childhood bed of your spouse. That would be a little bit odd. Okay. The bunk room. Sleep duration, twice the usual. Oh, surprise. It's the bunk room. Quality, 2 times as restless. And observable effects. The next morning, I went to the family tomb to visit his grave and was surprised to find a flower already laid. I so want to try this. You go to sleep in the bunk room, and then you draft the tomb the next day, and there's a flower there? Is it a flower that you can actually pick up and it has some special effect? Or is it just a flower? Is it just a cool little flavor thing? I want to try it. Will I try it today and pass up a key card? I don't know if I'm quite that brave. I just wonder, would the flower stay there? Or would you have to visit the tomb the very next day? Could you sleep in the bunk room once and then sometime down the road, a few days later or something, draft the tomb? Don't tell me, of course. You guys know the story. December, and by December I mean January 24th. I could not bring myself to ask, oh, she skipped the Dear Diary part, huh? Getting a little lazy here, Clara. I could not bring myself to ask Hartley directly if I could borrow his room for my sleep study. The mere thought of it was mortifying. Instead, I decided to roll the die, as he often puts it, and wait for his night off to sneak into his room to nap. Okay. The experience of sleeping in a servant's room was thrilling, but the fear of getting caught was overwhelming.
Every little noise startled me, and I couldn't manage to sleep for more than a few moments, fearing Hartley would return at any time. Clara. Too stressed to rest. I know that feeling. I know that feeling from time to time. Servants' quarters, sleep duration perhaps 1 hour, quality terrible. And then the effects about half the steps the following day. I also discovered a stray die had found its way into my pocket, which was hardly shocking given Hartley's history. What was Hartley's history? Did he have a thing for rolling the dice? Interesting. So, and she did mention in her story, roll the die. So you start the day, half the steps is not great, but you get an additional die. Is that worth the trade-off in steps? Is it having your step count from 50? Or is it from 70? Or from 90 if you get a sauna? That is so cool, though, that we're learning about these extra effects that you can get in these other rooms. Master bedroom next. January 25th, my dear diary. I have to confess that I was initially hesitant to spend the night in the Baron's room. She's hesitant about spending the night in all the rooms. The problem is not the room that you're sleeping in, it's the stress. You have to let go of the stress. Easier said than done. It's extravagantly showy, with every surface adorned with gold and every piece of furniture so large it seems almost comical. But as I lay down on the enormous bed, I was surprised to find that I felt entirely at ease. Even the absurdly oversized pillows were somehow comfortable, propping me up just right so that I didn't feel any strain on my neck or back. I slept more soundly than I have in weeks, and I woke up feeling genuinely rested for the first time in what feels like forever. We may have struck gold. The master bedroom, sleep duration every 8 whole hours, and the quality best in months. Observable effects, I awoke feeling very refreshed with more energy and more steps than normal. Yo. So the master bedroom sounds like it could act just like a sauna. Maybe even better, who knows? Maybe you get not just +1 step for each room in your house that day, but maybe the following day as well. Oh shit, did I hit the reset button on common master bedroom too soon? This feels like a good one. Okay. As fate, January 28th. As fate would have it, just as I had begun to make progress in my quest of slumber, a most joyous event has interrupted my progress. My beloved daughter has given birth to a son and has requested, that's us, that's me, and has requested my presence in town to assist her during this exciting but demanding time. For now, I shall take my leave of the bedrooms of Mount Holly, but I'm certain, dear diary, that one day I shall return. Lady Clara Epson, grandmother. And, what is this? What in the world is this? That is the very last page. And what do we see? We see... What exactly do we see? My first thought is that this is showing us the outer room, but also it's sketched as though it's the antechamber. This is the same logo that we see for the antechamber. Are we showing some part of the house that we've never seen? I don't know what to make of this. The first place that my brain goes is that this is on the West Wing. And we've got the little walkway that crosses the water. And then we've got the outer room. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we need to go back outside and look this over. Okay, taking the rest of the screenshots for the other pages in the book. We'll take another look outside, but I don't quite understand this yet. Because my brain is jumping to the antechamber, but the antechamber doesn't have directly, it doesn't have a path that leads outside somewhere. Perhaps room 46 does, but then this is not the sketch for room 46. I don't know what to make of this. Very, interesting discoveries in her ladyship's diary, but not of the kind that I might have been hoping for. We did not get any insight into this secret language, unfortunately. So that remains to be seen exactly how we can get that to work for us. I don't. How are we going to decipher the hidden language? How are we going to do it? I don't know. That will be for another day. We've got her parents here. Don't know if there's any additional details. We got Simon in the locket. Did we not have... Ah, right, this note. Here it is. The note, which looked like it was similar to the spiral that we see in the classroom, showing the different planets in their various orbits. And then this spiral that connects between them. But what does it mean? What exactly does it all mean? Man, just when you think that you're close to getting some answers, you're just left with more questions. Man, just a little bit of a mixed bag of emotions. Very exciting on one hand, but also kind of disappointing. But we did at least accomplish our goal. We got into her ladyship's chamber. We made that happen. Didn't even have to spend, we still have 5 dice left. So let's go to the showroom. Let's finish off our draft here by going to the showroom, make my way around, and buy the chronograph finally, because we have one more room to get, and we might as well make it a tomorrow room. Is there any reason to use the telescope again? I have to use it here? Okay. Is there any reason to use it again? I don't think so. But I guess we get 3 steps from it, so sure. I'll help myself. So now we actually get 10 more steps because we're entering into the boudoir for the first time after drafting her ladyship's chamber. What value? Holy crap. We're definitely buying the chronograph. We may or may not buy the moon pendant. We're probably going to buy the moon pendant, right? Because if I end up getting the casino, I'm going to be able to spread gold from the office. We're just going to get all of this. We could, if we want to get, we could still get the 100 gold spin on the casino by spreading gold from the office to the conference room. That can happen. So let's just take that now, get it out of the way, and then we draft from... We ended up using this door from the den after all. Look at that. After all was said and done. Yo, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I had completely... Oh my god. I had completely forgotten about the freezer. All right, guys. We didn't get the 20 dead-end dream. How close did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 from the bunk room. 11, 12, 13, 14. And that was it. And then the 2 makes 15. We came 5 short. Still quite a ways away. But we ended the very last room is going to be a freezer. Are you kidding me? The only thing I might have done wrong here was not getting the gold from the office, right? That's the only thing I did wrong, is I should have spread gold to the conference room and I could have had 20 more coins or whatever to go into the freezer with. But I mean, come on. You cannot have it any more perfect than that. Because not only do we get to freeze our assets, freeze our ass off with our assets, but now we get to see... Does our torch? It does! The torch actually melts the shit in the cooler. And this is a prism key, isn't it? So you can just get a prism key from the freezer, which is cool. Because it's in a cooler. All right. And then we get another letter. Thaw. Oh, that's what it says. No, there's a stamp here. Oh, we don't have a magnifying glass. Oh, that's the only thing that I've done wrong. I don't have a magnifying glass to get the stamp here for our last stamp in the stamp collection. Dang it. I see 12, and I see a bunch of these like boomerang symbols, similar to what we've seen in the classroom. Has the 5 boomerangs like this lined up. What do the boomerangs stand for? We figured this out a couple episodes ago, but I've forgotten. I need to go back and rewatch that. Part of Room 46 revisit. Thaw only in the event of my death. That's funny. Simon, I had wished for you to read this letter upon first arriving at Mount Holly, but I couldn't risk the contents of these pages falling into unsympathetic hands. My personal freezer should prove quite the safe box, as all of the staff have for many years respected my wishes that it remain shut and untampered. My favorite snacks were also stored here. Hey, where are the snacks at? I need those steps. But in addition to these delicious treats, it has also for the last 20 years stored many a cryptic message and ciphered note. This nondescript cooler is in fact a dubious frozen post box of chilled secrets? No way. Cryptic and ciphered note? Don't get ahead of myself. Just read the note. Keep your hopes in check. Have you heard of the Children of Blackwater? I have no idea. I have, as a matter of fact. I have no idea how forthcoming your father has been about the details surrounding your mother's final chapter, or the role he thinks I played in that end. I have always denied involvement. To him, to the detectives, to the Crown, and now to you as well. But can I honestly say I had nothing to do with her disappearance? And yes, I speak of disappearance, not death. For I too cling to the hope that our fears are unfounded and have occasionally, from time to time, caught fragments of information that bolster this belief. Fragments of information that have cost me plenty, for our country is never short of opportunists and blackmailers. Still, as I am now dead, I don't want this knowledge to be buried with me, even if that means passing the burden of these fragments onto you. Even if that information may weigh even heavier on your head than the crown involved. This crown is in black and white here, but I do wonder, is this intended to be a red crown or a blue crown? Unfortunately, let me make sure this is the correct, okay. Unfortunately, this information is a little too precious to entrust entirely to this freezer, as I'm not too confident that the sanctity of my snacks will extend beyond my life. That's why there's no snacks in here. I've always found it best to use multiple baskets when it comes to incriminating eggs. A lesson that I recently learned again when a member of my staff betrayed my confidence. Good old Denny. I have placed 8 red envelopes in 8 even more secure locations throughout the estate, and left a hidden message for you among the art that hangs in almost every room in this house. We're well attuned to a lot of this information so far. This message is the key to unlocking these secrets, but you must be open in your interpretation, as the message itself harbors multiple double meanings and hidden entendres. We're pretty sharp. We're pretty sharp over here, Herbert. We've been able to piece a lot of that together. One final word of guidance. The safe combinations you are seeking will not be found in writing on the estate. So I hope you haven't been wasting too much time jotting down random invoice numbers and dates. Dang it! Okay, so I was doing that for a little while. Have to admit, only by deciphering the many meanings of the 44-character message can you hope to unlock its many mysteries. To each their own letters. Herbert S. Sinclair. There is one more page, at least. Okay. Dang. Dang. Okay, that is mostly stuff that we already know. That is mostly stuff we already have figured out. Shit. Huh. But the most important piece of information, which we kind of didn't know already, was this 8 red envelopes, which we've had some question mark as to whether we, you know, because Alzara put that doubt in our minds that we're only ever going to be able to get 7 of these things. But Herbert is telling us straight up that there are 8 of these. And we just haven't found that 8th location yet. Could it be in room 46? Maybe that's what ultimately solving that geography puzzle will get us. Maybe that's our 8th red letter. Maybe. Can we actually, we can actually just straight up use, we don't have to completely thaw out the freezer by putting it next to the furnace or having the furnace in some proximity. We just need to have our hands on either a burning glass or this torch, and we can totally thaw out the stuff that's in here. We just don't have any snacks. There are no snacks, apparently, after all this time. But a prism key is a really cool... Oh, we could melt this as well. That was a very unanimated melt. Guys, we don't have time to do an animation for the ice in the freezer. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Just delete that shit. When the player gets rid of it, just delete it. It's fine. They'll roll with it. And sure enough, that's what we're doing. We're rolling with it. Alrighty, man. I think all in all, you gotta say that this was a smashing success of a draft. Some drafts don't quite get there, but we've had a lot of really, really good drafts, and this is no exception. I think, I mean, I could not, that last minute freezer on the very last room for another 45 room house. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So there's nothing else to do with our day, I don't think. It's really, we got to open Her Ladyship's diary. And, you know, looking back at, I was thinking about the fact that key was behind, this has happened, that the key was behind the photo on Her Ladyship's tomb. And this kind of thing has definitely happened to me before when playing previous mislikes. Previous mislikes, I always miss stuff the first time around, no pun intended. It's just the nature of those games. But with most mislikes, I overcome that by simply exploring and re-exploring and re-exploring and re-exploring over and over and over and over and over until I actually find all the things. And I actually see the things that I tunnel visioned past on a previous occasion. That's how I overcome it. The thing about blueprints is that you have this random draft element. The rooms are not in the same place like they are in a normal mislike. You don't have every single room in the same exact place no matter when you play the game. And so mapping everything out in your mind, so much of your mental energy is devoted to drafting. When you're sitting down and playing the game, you're drafting. And actually taking the time to re-examine every single room while drafting is a lot of mental work. It's just a lot of extra work, frankly. And so, as we wrap up this installment of Blueprints, I think I have made the decision that I'm going to open the door for some nudges. I think this is the time in the playthrough where there are still things for me to discover. There are still rooms like that I just need to add or draft for the first time. But I also think that there's a good chance that, similar to the key in the tomb, and also maybe the freezer, overlooking that letter for so long by not trying to thaw out the freezer. Admittedly, I did finally think of this, but it only came about as a result of a little bit of nudging from the comments and the fact that I was asking for a hint or saying, like, is there a way to unfreeze this letter? And once I had that certainty, then I thought, oh, burning glass or fire, some sort of way to melt it without using a furnace. We're going to check our blue crown, by the way, because this thing was awesome, and it's so hard to get. Getting to room 46 just naturally is so much harder than our standard rarity showroom, because otherwise I might want to check if we still had the normal rarity on the showroom. I would probably start checking the ornate compass to make sure I had that thing, because it's so badass. But the crown takes precedence. I really should not have picked up these car keys, for the record, because that's something I don't necessarily want to have with my moon pendant. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how lucky we get. But what I am going to do is I'm going to open the door for nudges to rooms that I need to revisit. All I want to know is, out of rooms that I have so far discovered and probably been in a whole bunch of times, what rooms are worth revisiting? Like, if I had not yet figured out the tomb, if I had not yet received a nudge to go back there and find the key for the diary, then nudging me to say, hey, you might want to revisit the tomb. You might want to re-explore the tomb. That kind of a nudge I am open to. Feel free to leave that nudge, preferably with a spoiler tag if you can. Say, backtracking nudge below or something along those lines. But with the appropriate spoiler tag, feel free to nudge me in the direction of a room or multiple rooms that might be worth revisiting. Because I think we're at that point in the playthrough. This is just the kind of game where it's not a normal mislike, where I can just go back to any room anytime that I want and re-explore them fully. I have to do it through the course of a draft. That room may or may not come up on a certain day. And so trying to figure out what I'm looking for in these rooms, there might be one particular clue in one room that I'm just not even thinking of. And it's just gonna take us forever if I have to wait, and you all have to wait for me to find that clue in that room that I'm not even thinking of. It's not even on my radar. So feel free to leave those nudges in the comments, and I may not check them out. I'm not guaranteeing that I am going to read those nudges, but please leave them and I will take note of them being there, so when I do feel like taking a nudge or getting some direction on that front, I have some intelligence and some clues, a new clue from you all that will help me going in the right direction. So, like I said, this is where we will wrap up this installment of Blueprints. I'm just taking another moment here to make sure that there's no acts or any last-minute housekeeping that we need to cover today. I think the only thing to do is to call it a day in the break room, even though we now know, thanks to the diary, that there are bedrooms, there are other rooms in the house that we can consider calling it a day in sometime. It's just that having a key card is so overpowered to make sure you can get into the foundation. Like, this draft would have been completely different today if we didn't have that, right? So I just, man, the break room is so difficult not to call it a day in. But at some point I do want to do these other things, especially the bunk room and seeing what happens when we get a flower on Simon's tomb in the tomb. So for now, though, we call it a day. We look forward to, we get another star from the Morning Star, and we move closer to that 50 star mark that is going to have a new constellation. We got a last minute clutch freezer to freeze our assets and take those over to the next day, which is awesome. And still 5 rooms off from that dead end sweepstakes, living the high life, which we will do one day. Just not today. It's a tough one, though. You really gotta focus in on what you're doing so that you can make that dream materialize. But yeah, nothing much else to say, but we got another clock tower, so we're getting more keys to start tomorrow. In addition to all our wonderful assets tomorrow, day 34 is going to be off on the right foot. And yeah, I am looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing what nudges you all are going to be leaving for me, what rooms to revisit. And this game is just so much fun. We really need to get our hands on Realm and Rune. Schoolhouse plus natural library plus library from the reading nook to get multiple shots at the bookshop, as well as getting to grade 8 or beyond. Would love to see that happen on day 34. We'll see what happens next time. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.